All right.
And we're live. Hello, everybody.
Hey, 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 hey.
How's it going?
What's up?
Captain here, as you know, and tonight I've got the other half, the guy on the left from Embrace the Suck, Spencer Joyce. So, for those that might not know who you are, which is probably stupid, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Spencer Joyce. I wear many hats. I reside in the state of North Carolina in the United States. Um, I I am the guy on the left, as you said, for Embrace the Suck 21. I handle most of the editing processes and uploading, and I'm also a singer songwriter. I have 3 EPs on all the streaming sites. Just look up Spencer Joyce Music, and also on YouTube. Do a weekly live stream of No Gig No Problem. I love barbecue. I love auto racing. I love moonshine and beer. So hopefully that
Fair
covers
play.
most of it in an elevator pitch style.
Yeah. No, fair play. I've never had moonshine. I've had our version. Well, uh, moonshine started in Ireland. It was
Yeah.
potching. We would call it potching. And then whenever so many of the Irish went over there, they naturally enough they took their whiskey with them,
Oh yeah.
and then
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
developed
Yeah.
into moonshine. So just before we get started, welcome everybody. I just want to say hello to a few people. So Joey Edibles, um, yep, who started off with something rude right away. So fair play, Joey.
Here we go. Here we go.
Annotated creative vibrations. Oh, there's the other guy. And
Dan the
and I have to
man.
I'll say this while I've got his comment up. You've got big boots to fill. Daniel managed to lose me one subscriber last week during the live one. Um so you're aiming for at least a -2 for me. So
All right. All right, man.
um
It's you. You got it, man. Let's see.
and Robert Holt's back from last week and
Yep.
Alison.
So,
Hello Alison. And I can
what's up,
see
Allie?
Miss
What's
Piggy's in
up,
there. Hello Miss Piggy.
Kirsty? What's up, Miss Piggy?
I'm just skipping down to see if there's anybody else. And Samantha Lee. Samantha Lee's on next time. It'll not be next week
All
because this
right.
time next week I'll be drunk and I'll have just seen Nothing But Thieves play for the first time, and I'm really fucking looking forward to it. So,
All right.
and Lex, Mr. Lex Tex is in the chat as well. Hi,
What's up,
Lex.
Lex?
Craig, Craig, who was live there a minute ago, but Craig's been having. Craig Kent Beer Reviews went live and he was having terrible issues with the StreamYard. The sound was
Ugh.
terrible. Yeah, so hopefully the sound's okay for us because I saw he had to end out and come back a couple of times, you know. So,
Hate when that
um,
happens.
yeah, it's a StreamYard's very temperamental. When it works, it's great, and
Yeah.
um, but we'll see what happens. So, right, we'll kick off with question, one.
Hit me.
What's your favorite YouTube channel?
Captain Bapton. That's one of them. Uh,
I wasn't gonna ask for. Like,
like
if you want to discount your friends, if that helps.
yeah, there's
So it's
friends
yeah, so
and
you don't want to say them, they are Emma Daniel stuff, and you don't want to feel so. Ignore Daniel and your other friends who.
yeah, yeah. I think I'll go to like channels that influence me and what I do and who people I enjoy watching. I mean, obviously the first like big one was probably Good Mythical Morning, Rhett and Link. That was definitely because they're a duo and they're also from North Carolina. I gravitated to them easily, but again, they're one of the OGs of the game. So that, and also I would put in like a few comedians, Trevor Wallace, Shirtley's. Those are a few that I like. Also like music review and like strategy people like Damian Keys. Um, who else in the game? Rick Barker of YouTubers, and also like music content creators like Rumi, Stevie T, Jared Dines, and a few commentators like Grady Smith does a lot of country music content,
Right.
and those are the few that come off the top of my head. I mean, give me like I don't know 20 more
Uh,
minutes, I'll probably I just
yeah.
would have to go
I
through my whole subscriber feed.
I've I've started listening to a lot more music through YouTube now because I think it's really good for stumbling across something new. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean that I played a wee bit of Alter Bridge there just when we were backstage and
Yeah, yeah. The
um
Alter Bridge, very nice.
yeah and there's an American band, a Georgian band that I stumbled across one night just because I literally typed in sort of acoustic, a band playing acoustic, called Blackberry Smoke. And
Oh, yeah, yeah, I've heard a couple of their songs. I think
uh, they're they're fantastic. They actually played Belfast a lot of months ago, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. And I've seen hundreds of bands playing, and they
nice.
were right up there. And I love their tagline. They've got on the back of their T-shirt. It's two rock for country and two country for rock. And I like that.
Yep,
But
that's pretty much it.
that's just stumbling from song to song on YouTube, and it's just sometimes the algorithm sucks, and sometimes it plays crap you don't want to hear.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah,
every now and again, you stumble across something really good. So
yeah, it's just depending on the algorithms and, like, YouTube Music itself and all their streaming sites, so Spotify, Apple, that's pretty much their whole game is serving up the right thing at the right time
yeah,
to you, so
yeah,
sometimes they don't get it right, but they got it right there.
yeah. I'll be honest, I don't. More often than not, they get it wrong because I'm very picky
Yeah,
about what I listen to.
as you should be, you know?
And I'm very, very opinionated about the music, as
Oh,
people
are
know.
you?
So
I
uh,
did not get that, idea from your shorts at all.
no.
Can you pick bands?
Well, I
I'm
know.
joking, you know
Well,
that.
I mean that like I'm an old rock guy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I've got I've a Metallica,
Oh, nice.
tattoo. I've an Iron Maiden tattoo. I've ACDC
Ah.
in my back. I'm an old rock guy, but I love a bit of country sometimes, and I love, you know, uh, there's times, just sometimes Frank Sinatra is the right thing to play in the car.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Depends what mood you're in. So.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
But Joey, that's only partially true. So, um,
Yeah, man. Like I grew up on classic rock radio. I'm familiar with Zeppelin and I not as much Iron Maiden. They didn't get played as much on classic rock radio, but also like Black Sabbath. Um, uh, I'd say like earlier Metallica was definitely played in my car, and also
yeah,
AC/DC. So I'm very acquainted with that, and also American country music. So that's definitely where I got started. But like when earlier this year, Dance in the chat, he will back me up on this. Oftentimes when we were working on the deck from hell, he would put on like 90s dance tunes, and like
really.
that was like perfect for what we were doing.
No, that's never perfect for Emma. Even in a nightclub, that's not perfect. I've been, despite the fact I hate dance music, I've seen Carl Cox live. I've seen
Oh,
Clockwork Orange. I've seen Miss Money Pennies. I've seen stuff like that. The big nightclub in Magaluf called BCM, and what
ah,
what they did, the guys would play a set in London, and then they'd fly over in a private jet, and then they'd do a set in the big nightclubs in Spain. And
nice.
it was, and I'm standing there, because there was we indie bar that would play Ocean Colour Scene and Oasis and all stuff like that, and I'd been in my element drinking these big green pints called fucking Mentals. But every now and again, I'd have to go and listen to dancey music because that's what my mate who was with me, it's what he liked. And I'm standing there going, "What the fuck is that? Still the same song an hour later? Is this just the same song? There's been no break, no nothing.
Pretty much, it's all the
Yeah,
same.
but uh, so I should say to everybody, if you have any questions, if you want to put them in the chat, I'll mark them and we'll ask at the end. So there's another one on. Hello, Chris. So
And don't hold back.
no, ask any you can ask any question. Doesn't mean that anybody will answer it, but you can ask anything you want. So
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
okay. So question 2 then. So what is your
Ooh.
favorite British show?
Oh man, like Of the ones we checked out so far, like,
Yeah. Well,
uh,
anything.
yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about the stuff we've checked out already, and it's a very short list. Obviously, like there's like 25 different more that at least that we haven't checked out yet.
Yeah.
Man, if you stranded me on an island, I would
Mhm.
probably have, and I can only have one. It will probably be Faulty Towers, or
Okay.
I know it's Irish, but Father Ted. Those are
Yeah.
those are like the ones I would save if my house was on fire. Like,
Yeah.
but then again, everything we've checked out so far, it's been great. I'd even put Blackadder in there, but I wouldn't put it above like
Well, see.
IT Crowd or In
Well,
Betweeners.
in fairness, what series have you got to in Blackadder?
Oh,
Have
we've
you
done
done
them
them all
all.
yet? You
Yeah,
have.
we've
You did
done them all.
Blackadder goes fourth.
Yeah, we've done goes fourth. They're just all
See,
sitting in Patreon right now. We're gonna jailbreak them in
right. That's why I haven't seen
January.
it. I think
Yeah, yeah,
Blackadder
yeah,
goes
yeah.
fourth is one of the finest comedies ever written.
Oh yeah, I'd have to agree with you
And
100%.
the final episode, the final scene, in a comedy show to be that poignant
Yeah,
is. And bear in mind, this is now, so we're on the 11th here, so this is Armistice Day for I know it's Veterans Day over there. It's Armistice Day for us,
yeah,
So
yeah,
just to see stuff like the Poppy, Flanders Field, come up at the end of Blackadder, and it's it's just still to this day. It'll get played tomorrow because it's Armistice Day. It'll be people will play it, but yeah,
yeah,
Faulty Towers is a really good shout. The IT Crowd is. It's a show that just get better and better. I wasn't keen on it first, and then I just started to fall in love with it. When the new boss came in, the second series, I
oh,
think it got better. I
Douglas.
can't remember his name.
Douglas, yeah, yeah, played by Matt Berry.
Yeah,
That's like he's like the epitome of the dumbass, boss that had too much money, like a Richard Branson or a Donald
yeah,
Trump, things like that. It just made it so much funnier.
yeah. I just it's great, and like I said, when I was talking to Daniel last week, I think whenever a comedy makes it into the culture, when people are randomly quoted 10 years later, it has something. I mean, Seinfeld has certain things, like especially, and I mean, as men, we maybe shouldn't mention this one, but there was shrinkage. There was shrinkage. After the
Yeah, I
pool,
love that one. I was in
and,
the pool. I was in the pool.
I know. And ironically, I'm not even a Seinfeld fan, but that's
Right.
still, that jumps out. But when you get people 30, 40 years later quoting the Four Candles when they're quoting from the two Ronnies, or they're
Yeah.
quoting "Don't Mention the War" from
Yeah.
Faulty
Yeah.
Towers and stuff. It's just and it's fantastic. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
now I should say the Blackadder's a grower. The first series is a bit strange, and then it starts to get really good.
Yeah, yeah. We actually skipped. We only did S Series 1 Episode 1 because in the Patreon people were very like divided on whether we should do the full season or skip it and go right to the
Yeah,
special, because we started with Series 2
yeah,
and I think that was the right choice, and we
yeah,
just compromised and did Series 1 Episode 1 just to
yeah,
appease those and then moved
yeah.
on to other
It,
specials.
it's a weird. Um, it's a weird one because it was good enough that it got renewed.
Yeah.
And to be honest, we don't renew stuff as easily as the Americans do. So if something doesn't do well, where in America you just seem to renew almost any crappy comedy, and sometimes it pays off because it then it keeps going, and it gets better, but it doesn't always. But
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes,
I
sorry, go
can
ahead.
I was about to say, like, there when you say that, like, there's two examples that come to mind, and they're both from Chuck Lorre. It's both Two and a Half Men and The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah,
Both of them, in my opinion, were great the first couple of series, but I like they kind of fizzled out for two reasons separate. One, for Two and a Half Men, Charlie Sheen leaving, all that, and
yeah,
them just scrambling to fill his role. Like, they
yeah,
should have, in my opinion, they should have ended it after Charlie left, but
yeah.
that they're not going to listen to me. But then again, also like Big Bang Theory, that was funny for the first couple seasons, but then it just, in my opinion, got a bit
Yeah.
repetitive and some of the jokes seem a bit forced, but America money. So that's why they
Yeah,
kept that forward.
it was weird. The Two and a Half Men one was weird because I actually really like it, and I still, I actually thought Ashton Kutcher did well at it, but the problem was once the wee lad grew up and wasn't cute and funny, it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you'd almost like just tell him to go away, tell him to go to college, and just turn up for a guest spot now and again. Especially once he became really ungrateful publicly about the show and
Oh,
started
I
saying it.
remember that.
Once he
Yeah.
found religion, all of a sudden it was like, yeah, this show's made me rich and famous and all the rest of it, but no, I don't like it, so you can fuck off, which was just a
Yeah.
bit unfair. And at that point,
Yeah.
he was just peripheral anyway. He was just it was Ashton Kutcher being the rich, tall, good-looking guy with a massive schlong that all the women wanted, and the other guy going, well, I hate you, just
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, but I think you're right. It went on too long, and there's definitely a load went on too long. But
Yeah.
people like them, and they've got the followings. So Big Bang Theory was a weird one. Once they all started to couple up, it just became, well, it was supposed to be a bunch of nerdy losers, and once they're all in relationships, and Raj, he became really annoying once he could speak all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah,
It was
and
funnier, and to be honest, he was a dick. He was a shitty
oh yeah,
character, and when he could talk, he was a dick. And then he always had these really hot women. I mean, the redhead that was into all the, oh my god,
yeah,
but that's for another stream. We'll talk
right,
about that some other time. But
right. But I was just say like the like, and I think we discussed this last week with Daniel, but also like the difference between UK and US TV shows is, the UK, there's like one, maybe two writers, and they go until they run out of
yeah,
steam. So it's like 2 to 4 seasons, but they're really tight and they're
yeah,
really awesome. Whereas not only like in US sitcoms, but also in like late night, there's a team of writers. You get like 7, 8, 9, 10 people
yeah,
throwing ideas out, and
yeah,
a lot of times it can either get watered down or
yeah,
not seem as cohesive. So
yeah.
it goes for a long time because advertisers will pay for it. But at the same time, the quality goes.
Yeah, I mean, it can get far too formulaic that way, and especially these days when the woke mob take over, it's right. You've got to put this character in, you've got to put that character in, you've got to hit this target, you've got to hit that target. Instead of just writing something that's funny, it's lame. But yeah, the late night host one really freaked me out when I found that out a couple of years ago. Because every you understand there's going to be people there, but the fact that Jimmy Kimmel and all these guys can't put on a late night show, they're professional comedians, and they
Yeah.
can't do it within a team of writers that, when you look at that English prick, James Corden, who apparently was really rude to and really condescending, and then really wanted to cut them out of any sort of pay deal,
Oh yeah. Definitely.
and he's not a funny guy. He's actually quite a good writer. I mean, he wrote Gavin and Stacey, which is
Right.
a show I wanted to hate but really fell in love with after a while. It's brilliant and it's
Yeah.
funny and it's weird. But they didn't worry at that point about hitting any things. That the character Nessa was just big and rude and just full of bullshit, and it was funny.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it was just good. But we have we have more than our fair share of crap comedies and all. Just sometimes we get it right, and I think because of what you do, you're only seeing the best of what we produce.
Yeah, like
Which
so
is
far. I mean, obviously,
yeah,
like we go off what the majority wants, and
yeah.
the majority haven't led us astray yet.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, because
give
the
us
range
two or
of
three years.
popular, but it is noticeable. I mean, you did the in-betweeners, right?
Yeah, we started with
And
that
I
one.
love the in-betweeners.
Oh
I
yeah,
I think it's fantastic. But that's only what 20-year-old,
yeah.
and you wouldn't, maybe not even 20-year-old, and you wouldn't be allowed to make that now, which is
Oh hell
scary.
no, hell no.
And
Yeah,
it's for something to be that funny, and these days make friends. They're trying to write friends off. It's got a wee bit of a grace now because Matthew Perry died.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for a while
R.I.P.
there, it was, well, it's too white. It's not diverse enough. There's no gay characters. There's no trans characters. No, shut the fuck up. It's about six friends trying to get on and get a job and get laid and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
And,
right.
and yeah, and the majority of us don't care, but the majority of us just want to watch something that feels real and makes us laugh.
Right, right.
You know?
And I would say like there's nothing wrong with including characters that, are not straight white males in like, but don't include them in things that are already established. Like make
Yeah,
your own comedy. Like make a
yeah,
series based off of those type of other identifiers and have that be the basis of their own show. Give them their own thing as opposed to jamming them into things that are
yeah.
already established.
But that's the thing. It's make it real. You know, make it
Mhm.
authentic, not just because you watch anything now and they're just ticking boxes. And us people sitting at home, we're not stupid. You know, you're looking at it going, but this doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel, you know, if it's not natural, it's gonna be harder to make us laugh. I think, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and I mean nobody cares what color somebody is. They just want the best person for a role. They want the
Yeah.
best character in a sitcom, you know, and to shoehorn stuff in, it's like when what was it? That '70s show. I mean,
Oh.
I watched the first of the reboot of it, and
Oh, yeah, that
it's
90s
like
show.
I what I say. Yes, yes, that's what.
Yeah, yeah.
And they I mean, Red's in it and all that there, but it's like somebody sat with a list going, right, we have to have this in it, we have to have that and all the rest of it, and it just didn't feel right, and it wasn't
Mhm.
funny, and it was all, you know, I'm offended. It was all that sort of comedy. So shut the fuck up. It was about
Oh.
getting stoned and trying to feel up, you know, the girl next door. You know
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
and that's relatable to the vast majority of people.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but
But
anyway,
I
onwards and upwards.
yeah, I'm about to say thank you for, saving me the effort of watching that 90s show because I loved that 70s show. Like,
Me too.
that was a great show, so thank you for, saving me some
Yeah.
time on Netflix. I appreciate that.
I, anything with Mila Kunis in it, in fairness, is probably worth watching. You know,
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that
yeah.
one.
I'm big, and the redhead guy. I always remember with Big Red. I can't remember what they actually called her, but yeah, she was hot as well. But and that's another thing. To be honest, you got me on my soapbox now. I'm sick of everybody on TV now being ugly. You know what I
You
mean?
you're sick of them being ugly or sick of them
Yes.
not being ugly?
No, I'm sick of everybody in every show now being ugly. Um, because they're afraid. Because all of a sudden, and I say this, you know, as an ugly person, if I want to see something ugly, I look in a mirror. If I want to see something pretty, I used to turn the TV on and I used to go. Um, I rewatched a series on Prime the other day. Or was it White Collar?
Okay,
You
okay.
know, and I liked it. And it was about a guy. He was a con man, and they got him out to work with the FBI white collar crime thing. Everybody in the show was hot. You know, all the marks, all the women were gorgeous. And you fast forward 10, 15 years, and you're watching everything. It's just all ugly women and ugly men. And just shut the fuck up. You know, sex sale for a reason.
That's
Put pretty
bullshit.
people on the TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You know,
saying,
and I'm not
man.
saying everybody. I'm not saying like you can't have a De Niro, you know, who's just a great actor. I don't mean that, but you know, put hot people on the TV. That's what we all want to watch. So
Yeah, you want some eye candy for God's sake.
absolutely, absolutely. So right. So we'll go to question 3 then.
All right.
What's been the best experience of your life?
Man, it's a good question. Um, I've had a lot of good experiences. I mean, obviously a lot of bad ones too. Um,
You know, like
I mean, certainly this year it's been the highest of highs, the lowest of lows. The lows being my divorce, and the
yeah,
highs being hitting 100K on ETS 21.
okay,
Those are a couple, but I would say um recording the album Songs About Nothing on that I have out and then putting out in 2019 is just putting putting legit studio recordings of songs that I wrote, in my basement, and I've written with all other bands that I've been in and out of for my early 20s, and putting them out with my vision in mind. I'd say that's
Right.
uh a big great experience of my life. And um man, I would say getting out of school, never having to be in American public education ever again. That's one. I would say those are a few that pop to mind, but um, I mean, but then again, I don't really dwell too much on the past. I I'm not a very nostalgic person. I tend to always try and look forward and look ahead on things. Like, I would say I'm looking forward to coming to the UK next year
Yeah.
and Ireland. So hopefully that answers your question. I know
Yeah.
it's a bit long
Oh,
winded.
but see that's a weird thing. That's a very American thing. Just don't dwell on the past. Look forward, look for the positives. We're us Brits are like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's we're
Yeah.
we do tend to grumble a lot and piss and moan about the past and yeah, maybe there's a happy medium in there. Maybe there's somewhere in the middle. It's probably the ideal way. But yeah,
Well,
it's a hard question. It's because I mean, because everything that you've done, all the shitty things that's went on, has got you to where you are now. So maybe they're supposed to happen. I don't know. I mean, who knows what
yeah.
the plan is if there is a plan. So
Yeah, yeah. And then I would say, yeah, that's the perfect way to put it. Is everything that you've experienced makes you who you are today. So I'm grateful for all of it. I mean, I there's stuff that's needs to stay up here, but there's also stuff that's been posted online. So
like,
there's been a few of them. Like, a few others that popped to mind is the first time I went to my local NASCAR track in Martinsville Speedway. I live 10-15 minutes away from that, like in 2006 with my mom. That was another one that pops to mind. And um I like the day that I got fired from my job as a school bus driver in 2022 and went and did YouTube full time. That's
right.
another positive one. So I don't know. We could sit here for a long time, and I'm sure more will pop up.
Fair play. Although, yeah, being British, I really should take the piss about you watching NASCAR, but I'm not going to because it's
Go
just it's
ahead.
no, 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 no. I'll only get dog's abuse for it again. So, I'm not a fan of Formula One either. I'm not a fan of motorsports in general, but NASCAR is turn left, turn left, turn left, turn left to us.
Yeah. In the general sense, I mean, we've come a little way. We now have 6 road courses on our 36 race schedule now, so it's not always
Oh, I
turning
didn't know
left.
that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, we have 6 road courses now. So we turn left and right. One's a street course. There are a couple other road courses. Like, we race on Circuit of the Americas, where Formula One does the U.S. Grand Prix.
Right.
So there's that.
That would
But
make it slightly more interesting because the thing that's killed Formula One is nobody can overtake now. It's just so
yeah,
it's just so boring and it's different. I know Chario one night was defending it. He said, but it's all about the fuel efficiency. It's all about the fuel, the weight ratio, and all that nonsense. But the
yeah,
problem is that's okay if you're really, really into it. But somebody just sitting with a clicker going, oh, just watching cars go around the circuit or go around a Formula One track for most of it's like, really,
yeah, yeah. I'm with
and
you there. I think like definitely the current Formula One product is definitely there's not a lot of chances for passing, for overtaking.
yeah,
It's definitely more about strategy, so it appeals to the more technically advanced crowd,
yeah,
and also the personalities of the drivers. They're a little more rich and posh, as y'all say over there. Whereas NASCAR, it's more for the blue collar working class folk,
yeah.
and the racing style, especially on the shorter tracks, like less than like half a mile in length. It creates a lot more opportunities for passing and for beating and banging. So
Yeah, I just that's people want to see they want to see a race. That's what it started off, race around the track and trying
Oh
to
yeah,
pass each other. It wasn't that long ago whenever in the Formula One you had Schumacher and Coulthard and Eddie Irvine and people like that. It was brilliant. They were past each other on every corner. They were bumping tires and all. It was brilliant.
oh
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
just one year after year, it's just I understand it's supposedly about safety. It is about safety, but the problem is they also forget it's a spectator sport, and if nobody wants to see, you may as well have a schematics track in your spare room. If
Pretty
that's you just
much.
want to sit, just watch go round and round and round. So,
Yeah,
but
yeah. They want to see a show. Like, yeah, like there's unless you are like on pit lane, like you don't know what the hell the strategy is, or you've got one of
no,
those scanner
no,
devices, you don't know what's going on.
yeah,
So if you're up in the stairs in the seats, having a beer, you want to see something. Like that's
yeah,
just human nature. And yeah, they've come a long way in terms of safety in the cars themselves. And I'm talking
yeah,
both F1 and NASCAR, like with safety in the seats and also like the safer barriers, like with when you hit the wall, it's like a wall and then there's foam and then there's the actual wall to absorb the impact. That way you don't break your freaking neck when you hit a wall.
yeah.
So there's things they can do and still have a good time.
Okay. Next question then.
Yeah.
Another nice easy one. What would you trade for fame and fortune?
Hmm. Makes me think of a Nickelback song. I'm gonna trade this life for fortune and fame. I'd even cut my hair, change my name. Um, what would I trade for fortune and fame?
Sorry, Joey. No,
Ice cream easy. The volume was cranked. Sorry, I read that one.
I didn't think I
Uh,
was swearing that much. No,
what's your fucking language, man?
no. We do swear a lot. Sorry, before we, um, years ago when my dad was down, he brought family home from his sister moved from here over to Georgia, so they all wanted to come up and see him before he died, and
Ah,
and they couldn't believe how much we swore over here, but we didn't think it was anything out of the ordinary. We didn't think it was it's just part of our vocabulary. We
yeah,
just swear a lot. We don't mean anything bad, and as you've done some of the language things, you just because if I would call you a cunt, it doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. It's
right.
it's just yeah. So I don't realize I'm doing it a lot of the times. So
Right. It's there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, where I live in the is considered the evangelical south of the United States. It's definitely not it's not kosher to be using, shit, damn, what's the George Carlin
yeah,
one? Shit, piss, fuck, cut, and cocksucker, motherfucker, tits, fart, church, twat. That's definitely not part of the vernacular. And if you do that, you will get a lot of dirty looks. And
yeah,
but when I moved up north to like the DC area, it was definitely a little. It wasn't as much of a voodoo to be cussing.
yeah,
So I appreciate that a lot, and I appreciate that y'all got spicy tongues over there,
yeah,
and it's a little more real, a little more raw, and I appreciate that a lot.
yeah.
Um, and when you said cunt, I was watching this stand-up special from Randy Feltface. I think it's the most recent one where he said how he's from Australia and they say cunt like it's water. And the way he phrased it, I can't remember what it was, but it was like how cunt uh, encompasses the all of the vagina. Like it's not just the inside part, but it's also the clitoris, the labia, all the other things in it. It's the whole package deal. And vagina's a little bit rednecks. I got me a vagina. Like sounded a little bit like that. So I
I mean,
suppose
but the language thing, just to go on another tangent. I mean, I remember growing up watching Married with Children,
uh-huh. Oh
and
yeah, Married with Children.
yeah, and they used Wanker County a lot because they thought it was funny because they knew
Ah,
what the Brits used the term wanker. I think it's caught on a bit over there now, but we used it a lot. And then they also knew that fanny meant something different over there than it does here,
oh yeah.
and so they kept slipping that one in. If you pardon the pun. and they were using it a lot and making it sound a lot ruder. And we knew they knew when they were writing it that we had this side of the pond would be sitting laughing at laughing our arses off at it, and it would go over, and that's how a lot of their jokes get through because they were using language that the European, the Brits and that used that the Americans didn't know about, So
That's genius. That's
yeah,
absolute genius.
but I think that was pre-internet now, and so I don't think you'd get away with it now. So
Oh hell no, hell no. People have Google and they can look up stuff.
yep, I
But
know. So
to answer your question, what would I trade for fame and fortune? Like, I don't know if I want fame and fortune. I mean, I'm grateful that Dan and I have built a hell of an audience from ETS 21, and that it spilled over to both of our individual channels. Um, I I think back to my high school days. It was like a very posh high school, and it wasn't in North Carolina. It was in a suburb of Washington D.C.
okay,
and a little more money there. So they had the funds to have a TV uh, uh, morning announcements run by a few students, and I was their weather person. And one of my tasks was to have a snappy sign off for like have a marvelous Monday, or have a meatloaf Monday, or a French fry Friday, or something like that. And I was known for that, and people started to recognize me a lot, and I, which was the polar opposite of where I was in North Carolina. I was bullied a lot. I was made out to be a nobody, and then here I am in this in my high school being recognized by everybody, and I was like, this isn't what I thought it was cracked up to be. I'm getting way too much attention here. So, um, to TLDR it, I don't think I would trade much for fame and fortune.
no, not bad. Look, it's a legitimate answer because I mean, what you've got now, you value, and to give it up just for, well, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know. But then again, I'm not married, I've no kids, stuff like that there, so I've got nothing to trade, really, So,
right, right. And I wouldn't even
um,
say if I had those, I would trade that for fortune and fame, because me, I don't value it as much. What I value, what Dan and I have gotten from this community is a sense of community and
yeah,
individual people's stories. Like, that's the stuff I value, as opposed to I hey, look at me.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, Miss Piggy. You tell me.
Yeah, I mean, the fame wouldn't get me. I said before this, I'm still uncomfortable just doing this, and we've only got like 17 people watching. The thought of doing stuff and having millions of people watching just would really freak me out. But the fortune I could quite easily live with,
Oh yeah,
So
oh yeah, yeah. People
you
say
know,
money can't buy happiness, but it could sure buy. It could solve a lot of problems.
what was your man from what? Who was it from Motley Crue? Was it? No, it wasn't. It was somebody tell me. He says that if anybody says that money can't buy you happiness, is shopping in the wrong place. David Lee Roth, I think it was.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean, it might not buy you happiness itself, but what it would do, it would take all the impediments to happiness away, like having to work 5, 6 days a week, like having to fucking worry about your mortgage, your bills, like not being able to travel because it's so fucking expensive when you can jump on a private jet because you're loaded.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
So yeah, so fortune more than fame for me. So, but
absolutely.
okay. So question 5: outside of Daniel, who would you most like to work with? And I have to stress this is the only question I changed, and the only reason I changed it was because I couldn't ask you who outside you wanted. So I just had to change the name.
Mm, good one, by the way. Who would I want to work with? I would say, in terms of like modern artists,
I have an idea.
musicians, I would say like maybe like John Mayer, and
I'll
also
be
Zach
honest.
Bryan, um, Tyler
Oh,
Childers.
hello, EB.
What's up, EB?
EB in the house.
Let's see who else. Probably Noel Gallagher from
Oh,
Oasis.
and Squirrel.
What's up, Squirrel? Hey, we got all the people in here. Um, probably Paul McCartney of those living in terms of music. In terms of YouTube, I'd probably go back to Rhett and Link or Stevie Terraberry, um, Jared Dines do like the whole shred collaboration thing.
Right.
Um, Also like cooking channels like Sam the Cooking Guy. That's a guy I like to watch.
Okay.
And those are a few that popped to mind. Probably also Rhett and Link, like I said at the top. So
Well,
those are a few.
from a cooking point of view, there's Lep. Lep, if you're in the or Joey, if you're watching, stick Lep's channel link in the chat. Lep does a lot of cooking. Lep's a good cook.
Let's
You
go.
know.
Let's go. Let's
Um,
hear that one.
so he yeah, he does a lot of good stuff. But I'll have to. I mean, I don't want to cause any friction, but I have noticed you didn't mention eBay or Squirrel there in your answer. So now that they're in the chat, and you bypass them completely.
Well, we've worked together before. We've had done like panels before, so we've already worked together. And like that's just an obvious. Those are two obvious ones. If we're in the same area of the United States, yeah, we'll pop in, make a video. That's just. I didn't think that needed to be said out loud.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a bit of a cop out because now with this thing, I'm in a different continent than you, and we're doing something. So
Mm.
they're only a few miles away, but that's okay. I'm sure
Oh,
they'll forgive you. No, so
yeah.
this one always gets a lot of different answers, especially from this side of the pond. So who's the
Ooh.
best comedian of all time?
Oh, it's like it's like asking you to pick your favorite child, dude.
Yep.
Oh man.
But everybody's got a favorite child. They just won't admit it on YouTube. That's. So
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
Yeah, that's right there. But there's just so many like ones that I have I discovered like a decade or so ago when I was in my punk days was Bill Hicks. Like his ideas and his way of delivering things. I think he's one of the more slept on comedians of his time and of all time, I'd say. But then also you can also add in George Carlin. You
Carlin
go
gets a lot of love in the answers.
Yeah, and also I would say me personally, like just haha funny, like Chris Rock, I put up there, Jerry Seinfeld as well. Also, I grew up in the South, and you know the Blue Collar Comedy Tour was big in my household, so I grew up on listening to Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy. But of that, I would say Ron White has definitely had the most staying power. Um, in terms
I'll fix up after the show. So sorry.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, I would say of across the pond, Jimmy Carr is definitely up there for me. Who else? Like the little bit of Lee Mack that we've checked out. I liked that also. Randy Feldface, which I said earlier, like he's really great. But picking the best, man, that's
hmm.
like that's tough. That's really tough. Oh
Yeah.
man. I
See, I would imagine if you're like me, it maybe just depends what mood you're in.
Yeah. If
You know,
if you're mad at the government, yeah, go with like Carlin and Hicks and maybe Dave Chappelle. If you just want ha laughs, go with like Kevin Hart or Trevor Wallace or Matt Rife or
a
Jerry
couple of those
Seinfeld.
names a couple of those names I don't know to be honest. Sam Kinison gets a lot of love as well, but
Yeah.
I, I I personally can only watch him for about 5 minutes and I get bored with him. I'm not a big. I love comedy shows. I'm not a big fan of stand up comedy. I
Yeah.
think Jimmy Carr, who I loved, but it just starts to get a bit samey after a while. I think. For
Yeah.
me anyway, it's just like it's the same stick. It's the same. You know.
Like you can only tolerate his laugh so much. Like let me see if I can do it.
Uh, it's
Ah.
not that. He's super funny. He's super smart and all that. He's a great host. 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown is one of the best shows going.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, I know you've done it for Carrot in the Box and stuff like that when Sean Locke was still on it, and
Yeah.
he's
R.I.P.
brilliant at that. But yeah, there's a lot of really good, a lot of big names. I mean, I had a chance. I was at Sonosphere 2011, and Bill Bailey was one of the headliners on the
Oh,
second night.
nice.
I went for 5 minutes. I went, nah, thanks, and went off watch somebody else. Just it's not comedy music, particularly. Just I'm not a big fan of. There's exceptions. Sometimes there are exceptions.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Some people do
I,
it
lo-
really well.
I love Steel
Others,
Panther, even though they're just lunatics. The Steel Panther, the music's brilliant and the lyrics are stupid,
yeah,
um,
yeah,
but Bill Bailey's great. When he used to, there used to be a thing called Nevermind the Buzzcocks over here, which was a musical comedy show, and it was brilliant.
yeah, yeah. That gets thrown at us a couple times.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's whether or not it holds up after all this time, but it was fantastic and it was brutal and it was the very edgy comedy and as the host, the guy Mark Lamar was famously hard on his guests, and there was a wee honey called Gail Porter. She was
Okay, okay.
there was FHM when it was big over here. They used her as an advertising campaign. They projected her naked body on the Houses of Parliament. That was the cover of the FHM. She was
Oh my
gorgeous.
God.
Ah, she was gorgeous. But she went on that show and he ripped her to pieces for half an hour, had her in tears and all. It was hard to watch. And then apparently at the end of it, he asked her out, and you're going, you got some balls on you for doing that. So,
Oh man,
um,
I gotta see that one. That sounds awesome.
no, but a lot of time it was funny, because and he'd have people on he just couldn't stand, and like really poor musicians and stuff, and he would just rip the back out of them. So he would. So that's Lep's channel for anybody that's watching. So just because you like the cooking stuff, Lep does a lot of cooking stuff. Very good. Not that I've tasted any of it, but he does. He's a very good chef by all
You,
accounts, and
you could tell that it's good. So,
great. Yeah,
yeah,
well,
you sold me
yeah,
on that one.
yeah, because a lot. Blake keeps talking about the smash burger that Lep
Yes.
did one night, so it must be good. And that, I mean, I think that was about 2 years ago he did it. So, right.
Yeah.
So a little bit more light-hearted this one potentially. Are aliens real? And if so, have they visited us?
Of course they have. They are real and they have visited us. like,
I know.
literally, U.S. government just confirmed that aliens, UFOs exist, which we've all known for this for a very long time. But like this, we're not the only planet on that has living creatures that can think and have posable thumbs, make tools, things like that. So it has to there has to be out there, and um, that's another thing of where I grew up. Like, it's not so in my area, but like in my region of the United States, there's definitely a lot of people that have claim to have seen aliens and been
Yeah.
abducted and been butt diddled by them. So it happens. I would say, well, those are probably not true. Maybe one of them is, like, maybe just one. I would and again, I'm not an expert on it,
Yeah.
but just from just knowing basic stuff about the universe, I'd say yes, they're real, and they have to have visited us at least once.
See, I'm not sure about that, but I'd be very, very, very confident that with the amount of planets in the known universe, there'll be other life out there. Really
Yeah.
do. I mean, just from a purely mathematical point of view, probability, it's almost certain that there's and then what the looks like, what form it takes, and all that.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced they visited us yet. I don't think they'll have reached this far. I think if they came all this way and we didn't see them, you know, because Stephen Hawkins talked about it before he died, and
Yeah.
he said we have to hope they don't reach us because if they can reach us at this point, they're way too advanced for us, and they could well just be here for our resources or us,
Oh yeah.
which,
Oh yeah.
which is a scary thought, but So I think they're out there. I just don't think they're traveling all this way just to, probe hillbillies. So
Right,
and
right.
I think that somebody's thought of that one day once they've realised that they've had a bit too much fun in the cornfield one night after a load of moonshine.
Oh yeah.
And well, especially deep south, can we admit that we had gay sex in a field, or no, it was aliens?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's one of
You're
the
not
best.
too far off. You're not too
Yeah,
far off.
and it is noticeable that when you think about it, every person records everything now, constantly in them stupid camera phones.
Oh
You
yeah.
can't move, and all of a sudden the sighting numbers have went down drastically. That everybody can record stuff, but we're
Yeah.
supposed to believe that back in the day, some random fucking hick in the middle of Arkansas or whatever is walking about the field at night and had a camera with him to record. Yeah, I can't forget about it. So it's just
Yeah.
hello, lads.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. And that is actually not too bad of a theory. That do we actually have gay sex? No, it was aliens.
Yep, that's it. Absolutely, it's like you. I mean, Ricky Gervais doing stand-ups, brilliant. Um, but when he talks about the AIDS epidemic and how it started, and it was the guy was accused. Well, he goes to the doctor. He says, what's the doctor say? So the only way you've got this is either you've had sex with a monkey or you've eaten bad monkey meat. And you can see the guy in his head going, yeah, I'll go for the second one. It was the bad meat. Um, and
Brilliant.
it's just that sort of thing. So,
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
but I can't remember. I don't know. Yeah, sorry, Blake. I thought you were aware. Yeah,
Whoops.
Blake's our resident Arkansian at this point. So, um, but, right. Question 8 then. What on YouTube disappoints you the most?
How much time do you got? um,
Time is
I,
infinite.
I, one that pops to mind now is the whole hypocrisy of certain reaction channels being demonetized and others not being, because SSS Sniper post reaction content, but really doesn't add much to it. Yet Mr. L. Boyd gets demonetized for quote unquote reused content. Like, motherfucker, that's all of the what reaction channels are working under is fair use and for lack of a better term, other people's content, but actually adding to it and giving good thoughts on it, which Mr. L. Boyd was one of the best in the game for that. So that's one that pops to mind when it comes to what disappoints me about YouTube is certain hypocrisies about certain channels. Some
Yeah.
can do this, some can do that, and we see it all the time with the shows that react to it. Like the fact that some people can get away without cutting out parts of the TV show and not putting text on the screen, yet we can only get certain things up by doing that. That's I think the TLDR of that rant was the hypocrisy.
Yeah. No, I think you're right because I don't give a fuck about YouTube. I'm only doing this for a bit of crack. I'm not
Oh
I'm
yeah.
I'm not going to be monetized. I don't see it ever happening, so I don't care. So YouTube can go and fuck itself for all I care.
Oh yeah.
It's a tool for me to meet people, and I've made good friends through it. And Blake, so
Yeah.
so
I'm with you there.
it's just. But when I see some of the reactors, so I saw King Boomer put a post out today complaining about it, you know, uh, as well, and just because
That's fair.
I think people aren't going to be able to get sort of comedy reactions going in the future because I love watching you guys do the in betweeners and stuff, but on YouTube when and it's just got this is for copyright reasons right across the top of it, it's just like it's just
Yeah, it
um
doesn't make for a good viewing experience. I
and
know that just as much as
And it
everybody.
should say this is the benefit of being on camera with a proper fat look, just making you look skinny. So, um,
I was just gonna compliment Cyrus, say thank you, but you know what? You said it, not me.
Yeah, but
But
no, but YouTube's weird. I don't understand at the times. Just I mean, I've only really done a few shorts up until I started doing this, and to be honest, it was almost just because I was enjoying doing them. I was learning the video editing and stuff, and sort of learning to put them together. But then you're trying to get them through, and you can only have like 6 seconds, otherwise you get copyrighted,
yeah,
and then it turned out, if I ever applied remonetizing either of those shorts up, they'll just go, no, we don't like your content anyway because of what it is. So, and that's one of the other reasons that I'm not even it's not even on my to do list. But yeah,
yeah.
it is weird, and I've talked about this with with Squirrel and Evie and all. Just, I mean, how come you can't do certain things when you flick over and somebody's the whole thing on the screen, and you know it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
weird,
ridiculous. It's ridiculous and kind of disappointing and hypocritical
Yeah,
at the same time. But you know, like you said, like we use YouTube as a platform. It's at the end of the day, it's a means to an end to
yeah,
get our names out there and be able to. I mean, it's not going to be uh for a long time that we pivot to do something else, but
yeah,
it's we still our faces are out there. Y'all are familiar with who we are, what
yeah,
we do, and that's really all we ask at this point.
yeah.
And well, it's a means to an end.
But it just seems stupid that YouTube's built so many people through this, and let's face it, a lot of people, myself included, only really started watching YouTube properly because of a reactor. It was EB that sort of got me watching,
Oh
and
yeah,
through it other things. I mean, you watch now and again, but it was watching him react the old British comedy stuff, and the sort of and they just don't seem to be, they aren't creator friendly, which just seems stupid considering it's a creator led platform.
yeah. Definitely in the early days of YouTube, it was more creator forward and more about posting stuff for fun. And YouTube's basically TV at this point. Like it's become a private company with shareholders, and if they don't see growth every single year, they'll pull out. And like basically all of the TV shows, all the sports networks and all the record labels have taken over YouTube, and you know YouTube's now playing by their rules. So as opposed to the individual everyman that's
Yeah,
independent and what.
yeah. Well,
Thank
it
you,
just
B.
seems stupid. I mean, what the platform is, it was people upload stuff, and then it was watch other stuff, share other stuff you haven't seen and all. And it's a nightmare now, and that's why we've talked. Some of us have talked about maybe one night for a laugh going on Rumble and doing it. But the problem is, it's getting your YouTube. Again, it's not an issue for me, but for anybody like yourselves that are relatively big creators, channels with subscribers, but you need them to jump with you, otherwise it's not going to work. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Like if people don't really jump from even one YouTube channel to the other, like we have 105,000 on ETS 21, but only 13K on Aries in the Nation, only like 2,500 on SJ Music. So if people jumped like that, like what you just said, would be a moot point. People ain't gonna jump to Rumble. Like
well,
not
that's
everybody, a few would, but not
yeah.
everybody.
Although I suppose you can dual broadcast, so that's something to think about going
Oh
forward. You
yeah.
can broadcast from and have the same thing on the two different channels, but I wouldn't know how to do it, but yeah, it can be done. So
Right, right. And that's where Twitch is right now. Like you can multi-stream, but like in their TOS, you can't mention that the fact that you're restreaming to Kick or to YouTube or to
right,
Facebook or something like that. It's stupid.
yeah, absolutely. So okay, question number 9: Who's your hero and why?
Who's my hero? Uh I mean, there's a couple. I mean, for in my own personal life, I would probably say both my grandparents, my nana and papa. My papa was pretty much the closest thing I had to a real father. My relationship with my actual father and my now ex stepfather, I was never ever really close with them, and everything I know about being a man is attributed to my papa and say my nana, because like my mom also, like they've both been there with me through thick and thin. Like my nana's basically given me a place to live while I rebuild my life, and we've grown more closer this year than ever. So I'd say she's a hero of mine in that regard. In
Okay.
terms of like my music, what I'd put on like the Mount Rushmore of my influences probably be Johnny Cash, um, Freddie Mercury, Kurt Cobain, Garth Brooks, Tyler Childers. That
Don't
would
know that last one. Who's Tyler Childers?
is an American country singer, like a
Okay.
more recent one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, more traditional type as opposed to the bro country stuff. So those would be I probably put like either Johnny Cash or Kurt Cobain as like my hero in terms of music, in terms of like my attitude towards life, and like getting to know people and uniting people would be like Anthony Bourdain. I don't know too much of what his shows were, but like just stumbling upon him now, I just love him as an individual. And I'd say Alton Brown, another uh, Food Network chef. Um, his show Good Eats. I watched it a lot as a kid, and even though I was one of the few people who watched it as a kid, it was more geared towards adults. It's
Yeah.
like one part Julia Child, one part Mr. Wizard, one part Monty Python in terms of
Right. Okay.
food and the history behind it and the scientific processes of making the food go great. And um, yeah, that's what pops to mind. Um,
But musically, there was a couple of names you left out that I thought, three, but two of them are for the same group. But I thought, definitely thought you'd have went Lennon and McCartney.
oh yeah, that's I forgot to mention that one. Definitely, I'd say more. Well, you can't have one without the other. I mean, obviously, John Lennon's the more rough, raw, and real one of the two of them. But then again,
Yeah,
Paul
well, see,
McCartney has the all the musical talent.
yeah, but you say that John Lennon was an asshole. He was a
He was
genius.
an asshole.
He was an asshole. He was also a hypocrite. He was a typical champagne socialist. And
Oh yeah,
don't mean it to be political, but he was an absolute the famous loving for peace. I mean, there's
yeah,
behind the scenes stuff about that he was just a complete prick, and he was out of bed all the day while the maids come in and cleaned his bed and all the rest of it, and he wasn't a nice person. He also, he wasn't good to his family. I'm not going to call him a wife
oh yeah.
beater on here, but
I mean, it
he
pretty much
was,
was. Yeah.
yeah, but he wasn't a nice person. But I think he's one of those guys. I think a lot of musicians when they die early, and I think he was a prick. I don't think he deserved shot in the head, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of the musicians, he's got the cool factor just because he was murdered. Where McCartney, everybody started to look at him, oh, you're old, then he became a veggie, and then, all this here. But McCartney
Yeah.
was arguably the more talented of the two.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's
Although
no
I
question
don't think
about
either
it.
of them were as good on their own as they were the flashes of brilliance on their own. But
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah. And I don't mean to seem like I'm backtracking on it, but when I listed all the people that I listed, it's for their artistry and their songs. Like as a people, like I didn't count that part about it. Obviously, Johnny Cash had his troubles. He
yeah.
also was a wife beater and went down. He burnt down a whole field and almost killed off a whole species. So he had his problems with the law as well. So I'm talking about their artistry and
Oh, yeah,
their
but
songs.
it's why I tend not to try and peek behind the curtain because I am so petty that if I find out somebody's a prick, I don't want to like them. It's like the Gallagher brothers. I hated the Gallagher brothers. I wanted to hate Oasis because them two are just arseholes.
Oh yeah,
But
oh yeah,
eventually the music just, definitely maybe is still one of my all-time favorite albums.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
But
That's their best one, I'd say.
so I think sometimes you're better not known. So, but over here, I mean, it was everywhere. It's hard not to know about the Beatles. but we do um we normally when Joey from Square Table Degenerates is doing interviews, he always asks the same question, which sort of become a tradition now. So I'm going to go slightly off script. I know the answer, but just it's we literally just join his and go, "Have you asked the question yet?" And he asked every guest, "Who do you prefer, the Beatles or Queen?" I know what you're going to say, but I'm still going to ask it.
Oh, again, it's like asking to pick your favorite child. They're both amazing in their own right. I don't like. I think I know where you're coming from, where you think you know what my answer is going to be. You think I'm just going to pick the Beatles, but I, they were both amazing. Like in their own ways, though. Like
Yep.
you know, obviously the Beatles were the OG band. They were the first to do all the stuff, but then again, they didn't have Freddie fucking Mercury. Like, you know, like how do you top Freddie Mercury as a front man? And I mean, there's you could argue other folks like
And Brian May's not exactly a slouch with a guitar.
oh hell no. Like
Roger Taylor's not exactly a bad drummer, you know.
yeah. Them as a band, you know, they're a very cohesive unit. Like I in terms of cohesive units, I would put them and Zeppelin as like the most cohesive units in terms of rock and roll bands.
Yeah, no, it's a throwaway one that came out of JV did on JV's Hangouts, but one Wednesday night during the lockdowns, he went live. Short notice his way, we're going to do a rock and roll. It was the best British rock and roll bands of the 60s and 70s, and he did it like a knockout format.
Oh.
And it was brilliant. It was a great show. It was very impromptu, but him and Thrice put it together, and literally, and so you had one band against another, and it just went down. And early on in the competition, Blake came in, and Blake went, "I'm telling you now, if the Beatles don't win, you know, you're all, you know, you can all fuck off and all this here." And he made it an absolute right away. And really early on, Queen came up against the Beatles. And
Oh.
everybody on the panel voted, and then if it was a tie, we put it in chat, and it went to a tie, and Queen put the Beatles out, and it's become a running thing. Um, and Blake has bitched about it constantly, you know, and you know, he just yeah, and it's become a running thing now. That's why the other day in your chat, I went because I forgot it was the different chat when you were doing the premiere to the
Oh
and I put in
yeah.
the comment going, "Yeah, Beatles suck, Queen rock." Amongst
That
all of
was you. Yeah, I remember
yeah,
that.
and Joey asks it on every interview he does now, whether it's a sports star, a TV star, or whoever. He always asks, "Who do you prefer?" I think the Beatles probably come out ahead. If he was to go back and check them, I think the Beatles would probably win. But um, it's I know for me at this point it would still be Queen. But I love the
Mm,
Beatles. You know,
yeah.
I disagree with Lex.
I'll give half
Next,
point to each. Is that allowed? Can I give half point to each?
it could be as simple as I hated Queen when I was younger, but grew to love them when I was older. But I've been listening to the Beatles for years. I'm maybe just bored with them now.
Yeah, the Beatles are where you start. Queen is what you mature into.
Yeah, there you go. He turned up. So, see, it's like Beetlejuice. Just say Beatles, 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 and Blake turns up. So, um, so
Oh
okay.
damn.
Question 10:
All right.
Does God exist, and does He love you?
It's a complicated question, and I
Not really.
I mean, yeah, it is, but is not a complicated one. But I just want to preface it with a little bit of my background. Like I've said before, I've grown up in the evangelical South, and I I did go to church as when I lived in North Carolina, but like I stopped. My parents stopped going for a little bit, and my brother and I stopped going after a few years because they realized they weren't really getting anything out of it. Um, my nana is still very religious, and I grew up around it, but what what was going on in my life in my early childhood, like my parents divorcing, I was getting bullied in school. It made me question a lot of things. And when I moved up north to a more, I guess, left leaning, more posh area, like it gave me more um, open views on things, so I could make my own judgment about it. So to answer that question, I would say God as a a person, like an invisible man living up in the sky. I think that's complete BS. And I, considering what's going on in the world today, I would say if it's that thing, the invisible man in the sky, I don't think he loves me. So I would I wasn't actually kind of prepared for that one, so I'm sorry if it seems a little
No, no, that,
scatterbrained a bit.
no, that's great. You're actually the first person that said that, that said yes, he exists, but he doesn't love me. You know, um, I, I mean, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in it. I'm not
Yeah.
against it. I don't slate people for it. Each to their own. But no, fair play. You're the first one's answered it that way. So it's pretty cool to be honest. I like that. So
Thank you. I mean,
okay.
I would say, like, I if it's the scenario you die, you go to the gates of heaven, I would I would give a similar answer to when Stephen Fry was asked the same things, like bone cancer in children. What's that about?
Yeah, yeah,
And kind of go like that. That's
yeah.
that's that's my attitude about it.
I think you're right. Come on, I just need to grab something off the shelf here. Give me a wee second.
All right, cool.
I'll
I
be
need
fine.
I need to go get a beer, so perfect timing.
Okay, it'll be 30 seconds, everybody.
30 seconds. Share stream.
Sorry about that. It's that point of the show where I bitch that I don't get any free stuff from Bush Mills. So desperately want something. Desperately want a free bottle of whiskey from Bush Mills. So oh, this one's a comfy open. Maybe it's not. Joey, you talk shit about me when I'm here, so that's. I don't think you're really going to stop any other time. So um, yeah, you'd like Bush Mills, Angie, especially this one because it's lovely. I just really should have opened this before it started, but I didn't think it was going to have a drink. But fuck it, it's tradition. So ready for the best sound in the world. Oh, love that. Oh,
All right, I'm back. Oh, we pouring up?
absolutely. So
Oh
this week
yeah.
we're going slightly posher. So this week we're going 12-year-old single malt Bushmills. So
Bushmills. Oh, I've got that
Distillery
one
Reserve.
saved. I got
Yeah,
that one saved on the tours of UK
yeah.
thing in my bobber.
And I always point this out. Look, oldest licensed distillery in the world, 1608.
Oh my goodness.
That's about 10 years before the Mayflower left for America. So
That's right. That's right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
cheers.
Cheers. I've got Midnight Moon, which is the moonshine distilled in my county, Rockingham County, North Carolina.
Well, if you come to Northern Ireland, we'll try and do that tour. We'll try and go down to Bushmills.
Let's
But
do it.
that's oh my god, that's lovely.
Uh-huh.
At this point, that's my favorite whiskey in the world. I've only been drinking whiskey for about a year, but I really really like it now. Um, and that 12-year-old, you only get that at the distillery, and it's lovely.
Goodness gracious. I can't wait to try it with you, bro.
Yeah, it's just great, So, and like I say, it's only a new thing for me, and I've tried Scotch. The Irish to me is nicer because it's triple distilled, so it's smoother and it's just.
Ah, okay.
But anyway,
Nice.
um, right, okay. If you could pick one superpower, what would it be?
There's things I want to say as a red-blooded male, but I'm trying to think of like what would be
Look,
useful.
look, this is a safe space.
Okay, it's a safe
It's
space.
my
Okay.
pity channel. Say whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Joey wanted X-ray vision just to look at girls. That's it. He wanted to see titties all day, every day.
X-ray
So
vision. I would say that, but then also the analytical part of me kicks in. And it's like, okay, but what good would that do? So I would say teleporting, because travel is expensive as hell, and I would love to be able to just travel, teleport, and then we're at Bushmills, and we're in about 30 minutes we're drunk off whiskey.
yeah, um, yeah, instant travel would be good. But then I suppose you could fly. You could. I don't know. Daniel wanted to dig holes. It was the weirdest superpower ever. He wanted to be able to dig holes, which
That's something
there,
he
there
would
you
say.
go. There you go. He said it. Dig ditches with my super strength. It was.
With
It was.
me super strength? Are you
Yeah.
becoming Irish now, Daniel?
Yeah. He. Oh, I thought that was a Popeye impression. You know.
Oh, Popeye. Yep. Gotta eat your spinach.
Yeah.
So
So. Um.
I
Yeah.
would,
It's a travel's a great one actually. Just that just
yeah.
because I mean I'd go back to Vegas tomorrow. We didn't have to get on a plane. I loved Vegas, and now that I've got like American friends, I'd love to go and see some of them because
Oh,
in
yeah.
YouTube land, I mean, I've only met Joey. Joey came over last year, so he did.
Oh, nice.
He did the
Nice.
UK, and then he came over here, and so we went down to the Giants Causeway and stuff, and we couldn't take him to the distillery because it was that the one day he was over, it was closed for maintenance, so we couldn't do the
Oh,
bloody tour. Um, which was a pity, So, um, but it's actually what made me. So it's Joey's fault I drink whiskey now because it sort of put in my head I wasn't a whiskey drinker, but just
okay.
because we didn't get down. So after it, I just said like some of the mates, look, we'll go down here for. I'll drive. We'll go down. It's a day out. We'll go and we'll get something to eat and all the rest of it, and I fell in love with it. And I've been drinking probably way too much of it ever since.
Hey, man. You find a thing you like, man. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, if you fly into North Carolina or Nashville, I got you, bud. I got you.
Yeah, but I I used to travel all the time. I don't do it now, and
Yeah.
for a few reasons I'll not go into here. But I'd love to go over now because I've met some real good people through YouTube, and I'd like
Oh,
to
yeah.
go and meet because some of them did a hangout in Ohio. Joey organized a comedy show in Cleveland a lot
Oh,
of
nice.
months ago, and a lot of them went down to it.
Yeah.
And because Lep and Joy are from the same area, but Angie and all went down from Maryland. Carla, who's not here, she's somewhere close. She's so a lot of them went down. So I
Nice.
regretted missing that. Just getting to meet some of the guys.
Yeah.
But so you never know.
Yeah.
So
Life's weird like that, and in the previous question, YouTube's just a means to an ends, and this is one of the great things that's come out of it.
yeah,
These all friendships.
absolutely. Because I mean, I used to I used to, laugh at one of my mates because he was one of the times we were in Amsterdam. He was going off one of the days to meet people that he'd been talking to from gaming,
Uh-huh.
on the PC and that.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just, uh, but now I sort of get it. I'm saying that. I mean, he never calmed up. They never sat and talked the way we do. So I think this is slightly different, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, but through YouTube, I've met some great people. Met
Yeah.
a load of complete cunts as well. let's face it, there's way more arseholes out there than there are good people, and I think YouTube
Oh yeah.
amplifies that. And then you have
Oh
to get
yeah.
through the facade of niceness with people, and everybody pretending to be okay and pretending to get on with each other, and you're looking at them going, but you're a wanker. Why is everybody being nice to you? And just
Yeah.
it's just so it's
It's a
uh
facade, man. It's
yeah,
you know
because I mean, people pretend to be nice, but most people aren't. Most people are cunts. They just don't want you to know it right away.
yeah, it's like they're very comfortable saying some bad stuff behind a keyboard. Like because it takes the humanness out of it. It takes uh the part where you have to look someone in the eye and see their emotions and read the room on saying certain things. That's gone out the window, and the shit that's been bubbling underneath the surface, that's what comes out.
Yeah, but I think even on where we'd be on cab or we'd be on panels sometimes,
Yeah.
and I think this is where Daniel, the odd occasion he goes live on his other channel, and
Yeah.
he has people up. He limits it to maybe 3 or 4 people at most, and I think it's maybe a wee bit too few. But see, when you have 10 on, it can just be chaos. So
Yeah, yeah.
and
That stuff freaks me the hell out, man. That's I personally I don't do well in groups of more than 10, even though I've played to groups more of like 100, 200.
you know,
That on the stage, like that's nothing to me. Like I'm still
yeah,
entertaining, but you
yeah.
know, one on one with 10 people, like that would freak me the hell out.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, I'm not going to repeat it here. I've told the story. I mean, I was in the chat of JV's show on a Friday night for months and wouldn't come up. I said repeatedly I wouldn't come up, and it took a long time for them to coax me to join the panel.
Yeah.
And then sort of never looked back. I'm still nervous about it. I still don't enjoy doing it, but at the same time, I couldn't see myself not hanging out with people online now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
although I did destroy JV's channel because after about 6 months of me, he decided to stop going live on a Friday night. Um, but I know he's not here, so I can say that because I know he's working this weekend. So.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
Um,
But
JV's a great musician. We'll have to hook you up with JV at some point if you have a chat. He's on some of his channel. He's done some covers of Hendrix stuff and all, and he is of all the YouTube world that I run in. I think most of the guys would agree. I'm not putting anybody else down, but he's probably the go-to guy for the guitar. He is so good. Now, there's all I mean,
man,
BC Herbs is a great guitarist. Thrice is really good guitarist and all, but JV's just different level there.
that's
Um,
awesome.
so, but anyway, so
Hell
and,
yeah.
and I wouldn't say this if he was here. So it's only because
Yeah.
he's not here. I'm going to be nice about him. So, um,
But
so
hey, never say never.
that's it. That's it. Um, so question 12 then: who on YouTube has surprised you the most?
Who surprised me the most? I would say I there's a couple of channels, but I would say it's those who try to copy what the big dogs in the American React community do, like JT Reacts, EB, Halo Squirrel, but they us ETS, but they do it where they don't have a lot to add to the content that they are watching. And Dan and I have talked about this like off camera, is that what makes like ETS work in terms of certain niches is the fact that we have reference points about the things that we're talking about, as like kind of the remix strategy, which makes another key ingredient to a lot of reaction channels in general is, NFL fan reacts to
Yeah,
football chants, NASCAR fan reacts to Formula One, American construction worker reacts to Fred Divna.
Yeah.
American singer-songwriter reacts to British rock. So like, but that's the key ingredient that a lot of these other channels that are trying to copy what we're doing, they don't have that. They don't have the reference point. Like I and I won't say which channels, but it just seems like they're just all they're copying is the thumbnail and the title of it, and not really talking about it. They're just like, that doesn't, in my opinion, that just doesn't make for watchable content.
So what you're saying, what you're trying not to say is Chadio's not great at reactions. Is that what you're trying not to say? Um, um,
Next question.
okay, I can do that. But I did say this last week. I actually think part of the reason you guys work is you're different. I Daniel's more extrovert. He's more belly laugh kind of guy. You tend to think things a lot more. I'm not calling Daniel an idiot, not this time. But there's that difference between us.
No.
And I think that works. It's a complementary thing rather than it's a yin and yang and it works. The two there. It's like the Morgan ways. If you had two Eric Morgans or two Ernie Ways, it wouldn't work.
Right,
Just 'cause
exactly.
two different. So okay.
Yeah,
So
but yeah, I was gonna say, like, he actually doesn't get as much crap about his reaction style than I do. It's like I've been accused multiple times of only laughing when he laughs, but I guess I'm just more analytical. It has to just mellow around my head a little bit, and then like
but
there have been several times where I don't get a joke immediately, and then I just laugh my ass off. Like
yeah.
that's just how I am, and
But
you know,
I'm not a big belly laugh guy. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
would I would think something's really funny. I would smile and maybe chuckle a bit.
yeah,
But
yeah.
and that's why I do tend to prefer watching comedy in company, because when other people are laughing, it is infectious and you do laugh. But it's not because I'm
Yeah,
not laughing because somebody is beside me. You just can't help it. But um, but it's different strokes and all that. So it is what it is. So
yeah,
um,
yeah. Like we all laugh and enjoy things in our own different way, and that's what makes
yes,
us all awesome.
yep, absolutely. Well, not all of us are awesome, but I get your point.
You get what I'm saying.
Um, so this is a bit
Oh,
tougher one, but what's been the worst experience of your life? Now, remember, you can decline to answer anything. We'll just make our own answers up, but you can decline to answer anything. So,
no, I've got an answer. I would just say, like, looking through my marriage, I wasn't ready to be married. I wasn't where I wanted to be in life, and my ex was 11 years older than me, and she was where she wanted to be in life. And even though that wasn't like the whole uh reason that we split, it was a much darker, sinister reason that I won't answer on here. But
you know,
I would say like I would say like probably the day I split and just realized that the split was imminent. Like it's happening, but you got to start planning out, and not just run out the door. And there's like I would say the time frame was like 3 weeks that I knew that um it was over, and just going through all the motions of it. That I would say that was the worst experience of my
right.
life.
So bear in mind, this is the first time we've actually met, and all. So this might be too personal question, and
No.
you feel free to tell me to fuck off. But um, I know a lot of people that rushed into marriages and stuff because they were more worried. They settled for somebody. Don't settle's maybe the wrong phrase, but instead of getting what they absolutely really wanted, they were more they were afraid of being alone, so they went into long-term relationships and marriages. Was there an element of that with you? Do you think?
Oh, absolutely. There was an element of rushing into it and not knowing what you wanted and fear of being alone. That was definitely a part of it, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it happens a lot. I mean, I know guys. I know a lot of guys that end up literally as soon as the kids are sort of out of school or out of the house, then all of a sudden that I don't really love you anymore. I'm away, So it's
Yeah. Staying together for the kids. I've seen that
yeah,
play out a couple of times, and I thankfully we didn't have any kids between us. So we didn't have to go through it like that. It was basically, my stuff is my stuff, your stuff is your stuff.
yeah,
Sign the papers, bada boom, bada bang, where we're done. So
yeah. I think if I was in a long term relationship and I split up, my biggest worry would be or trying to keep my CDs. I've a massive music collection and everything else. Yeah, you can. My stereo, I have a really good stereo that I bought and then upgraded. Or I've set mission serious speakers that I've had for about 28 years, and they're just so good. The thought of some
mhm.
cunt keeping those on me, But other than the rest of it, they can fuck off. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd rather be on my own than I yeah, being in something just for the sake of it. I'd rather just
Oh yeah.
quite happy with my own company and just um. But anyway,
Yeah.
right. So it leads perfect. Your answer leads perfectly on the question 14. Then,
Okay.
have you loved enough in your life?
I'd say I'd say yes and no. I would say and I don't mean to keep harping on the ex, but I kept up my end of the bargain. She didn't. Um, and but at the same time, I would say no because in my own family, there's a lot of missed opportunity there. Like my papa passed away in 2020, not due to COVID. Can we even say that on here? I don't even know. But anyway, not due to that thing that was going on in 2020. But I just got to be an adult, got to being busy, and didn't make as much time for him as I should have. And that's part of why I'm cherishing this time with my nana is it's kind of like making up for lost time. And
Yeah,
it not only my divorce, but also the fact that she had knee replacement surgery, and she turned 80 this year. So it was kind of mutually beneficial for us to be in each other's lives
yeah,
at this time. So there are parts where I'll say yes, and there's parts where I'll say no. I know that's not a straight answer, but that's what I got.
no, that's grand. But just there's Sarah just said, there you go. Be yourself, Spencer, on your reactions. You're coming across much more legit tonight, and it's great.
Well, thank you. I mean, I don't, it's not a facade I put on. It's just whatever comes out, you know. But
Yeah,
I
but
appreciate that.
I think Sarah, I think we were talking, before we started, just and even during this, I think it's different. Reacting to comedy is different. This is a different situation. This is just two dudes sitting having a chat. So because sometimes when you're watching something as well, I think I couldn't do reactions. I don't have it in me. Um, because I just watch at the end and go, yeah, that was shite.
Yeah,
But to put all the blurb on it, some of the reaction channels are brilliant at it. Squirrel's brilliant at it. EB's brilliant at it. User brilliant at it. But there are others. It's like they watch it in the end and go, that was funny, and you go, what the fuck,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. That doesn't really add much to it. And in terms like reacting to certain content is a skill in itself. Is knowing when a thought pops into your head. That's when you stop it and give some commentary in
Yeah,
order not only to make it transformative content, get it through the copyright filters. So that's
yeah,
part of the whole game of it.
yeah,
And because Dan and I were a duo, and usually I'm at the controls with the reaction stuff. And not only am I looking at the content, I'm also trying to be sure the audio is balanced. Like
yeah,
there's a couple of things I'm doing then, and also I'm also looking for Daniel when he has I've learned certain cues of he'll give, like what he'll say things like so or and I'll know when he has something to say and then pause it. Then it's an art form in its own, not just watching something and saying stuff.
Yeah, but well, I'm just to elaborate. So Cyrus is right. He says, um, yeah, if you think it's shite, said shite, don't pander the crowd because, and he says it honestly makes your reactions. We don't want to see anything else, and he's right because I think a lot of us can tell when something's not right, and I'd much rather go. That wasn't for me. I know when he did the first Blur song, you were like, "Are we missing something?" But it meant when you did like something, it's more honest, and for those watching it, because you don't want somebody just sitting blindly going, "Yeah, it's great, it's great, it's great," and we also don't want you reacting to stuff you've seen 100 times because. I
Right,
know
right.
Andy's been starting to do reactions, and so I send her links and stuff, because she gets all her music from me. And
Nice,
apart
nice.
from Nightwish and fucking Nightwish, don't get me started. And I've said,
Dan, you still in here?
yeah, and I've said to her, she's doing them as well, and she's doing well with them. But I said, don't react to something you've already, because we would sit sometimes in private and just play music. I said, you can't react to something. If you do, I'm going to tell everybody you're doing it. It has to be a genuine reaction. And if you don't like it, I mean, the night Squirrel did the Slade Christmas song, you know, uh,
Oh
and
yeah.
he was like, I don't get it, and everybody in the chat's going, what the fuck? That's like our favorite Christmas song.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
but it meant it was more genuine. If you don't like it, you don't like it, and because no point if you just put everything out that's positive, because
Right. Like
so
not everything's gonna be great, and like that when you said, not everything's gonna be great, immediately the Blur reaction was the first one that popped into my head.
yeah,
And also, the Smiths and Radiohead, if we don't like something, we're gonna say that we don't like it. So it's the
no,
way I
Sarah,
said it
no,
before.
doesn't like Slade.
We'll
I
get to
love
that
Slade.
later.
Yeah.
I haven't heard as many Slade songs. I've heard obviously "Merry Christmas, Everyone" and "Come On, Feel the Noise," but
Yeah.
that's all I've heard of Slade, and I like both of them.
Oh,
So
well, see, at one point, and it sort of blows my mind because it was just slightly before Slade were the biggest band in the world for a wee bit. For a few years, they were massive everywhere because that era, and just they were My Oh My and stuff like that are just fantastic. So.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yes.
Question 15. I think we know the answer to this one from watching your other channel, but where would you most like to travel to and why?
Oh, where would I like to travel to? Man, that is a good question. Is it Kingdom United? Is it Re-Ire? Yeah, I'm kidding. Okay. UK and Ireland. UK and Ireland. But honestly, I would say also, like there's a lot of Caribbean islands I would like to travel to. I'd like to travel to Puerto Rico, to Jamaica. Those are a couple that pop to mind, and also I'd like to visit Italy because my nana's been to that, and she says it's
Right.
really nice. And also, um, Australia. That's on my list as well. Where else? Those are the ones that pop to mind for me. So like I like the places of my ancestors and where the it's warm climates and you can have a fun time. I like beaches as well. So
Right. Nah, I was
that
never a beach guy. When I used to go to the Mediterranean, the Magaluf and all that there was the pool was somewhere to lie. I'd hate going to the beach, the sand and all. Fuck that. I just couldn't be annoyed. Although in Spain we had all the topless beaches, it was great, especially when you're younger. But I just
nice.
lay by the pool, slept it off, went did your breakfast about 4:30 in the afternoon, and then went out and started drinking again. Um,
Nice.
so I just think, yeah, for me, to be honest, it's still I want to go back to America. I want to go and see, you know, because I've only seen New York and Vegas, and I'd like to say it's such a big country and it's got such a you
Oh yeah.
know great history. Apart from that slight misstep when he's left us, and we had that minor falling out, you know. But there's just so much history there that I'd like to go and see, and so much of stuff. I mean, even up where Joey is up in Ohio, just stuff like Serpent's Mount,
Yeah, yeah.
just old ancient stuff like that. I because I mean I went to Vegas twice and never went to see the Grand Canyon. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I would say, yeah, those are all great things that you put out. Like a lot of people that are not from America that want to get into travel, like if they haven't done their research, like they'll assume that it's as big as their own country.
yeah,
Like the whole of both the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland could fit into like one fourth of our country, like
yeah.
the whole New
Oh,
England and Mid
it's not even
Atlantic.
that. It's not even that close. It's much. I think you could fit something like 20 UK and Ireland into Texas on its own. I think.
Oh yeah, it makes
Oh,
sense. Makes
yeah,
sense.
it's
But yeah,
massive. I we're barely Rhode Island size.
I wouldn't say
Um,
Rhode Island size, but oh,
well,
you mean Northern Ireland itself? I would say yeah,
no,
it's kind of like
UK and Ireland, but because it is, it's just. I think we all have this image because we're used to the map on the thing, and so you don't get a sense of scale. And
yeah, yeah.
Australia's fucking massive. It's way too big, and
Oh
it's got
yeah.
too many stupid people in it. It's got way too many dangerous animals. You know, um, and it's nearly everything wants to kill you over there. If it's not a drunken Aussie, it's a snake or a spider. So. Um,
Yeah.
it's just, but America's massive as well, and we don't get it. I mean, it's just the scale of it. Unless you've travelled to it, which I have done it, twice.
Right.
But I've only seen a couple of bits of it, and I want to go and see more, and I want to go. I know. We talked the other day to somebody talking about going over there and hiring a car and doing Route 66 and things like that, and I'm not sure about that, but I want to go and meet people, and I want to go and go and see the Alamo and go and see a lot of the old stuff and go. But I want to go back to Vegas. I certainly this time want to go to the Grand Canyon, but I was too busy partying. To be honest, I
Hey.
didn't really want to go and see a big hole in the ground. I was
Right.
too
Right.
busy having fun. And I've said this a lot. I don't regret anything I did in Vegas, apart from being so drunk I fell down the stairs. Um, I only regret things I didn't do, and that was
Yeah.
purely 'cause I just don't have time. I never even played poker, and I love poker, but it was always I'll go tomorrow. I'll go tomorrow. But
Yeah.
you're always
Yeah.
just too busy enjoying yourself and doing other stuff. It was just, it didn't happen for me, but yeah, you never know. I might win the lottery,
Yeah.
maybe
Maybe. Maybe. But
maybe
hey.
someday. It's getting more and more expensive to travel now. It just is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I will definitely say that going to getting the plane ticket over to the UK for
yeah,
June next year,
yeah.
it put me back about $700. So that's pretty damn expensive. Um,
But to be
and
honest, it's not that bad for that time of year. It just isn't.
yeah, I mean, I like I wish like I wish it was a lot easier to travel outside the United States, but it's just the reality is like we're so overworked over here that and we don't whether we get paid time off or not is at the discretion of our employers.
Right.
So we our opportunity to travel is outside the United States really doesn't present itself as much as it does for those over in the European continent.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna distract. Joey's talking about titties in the chat again. Yeah, yeah. The cost of travel is just and it's just going to get worse. The problem is they don't want us flying. They're trying to get us off fossil fuels and all. And they don't want the ordinary mortals like you and me, traveling. They just don't. It's
Yeah.
okay. All these cunts like Bill Gates flying about and everywhere going. Get off fossil fuels. You shouldn't be flying. And he's he's emitting more carbon in one flight than you and I's going to do in a year, and but it's going
Oh
to be,
yeah.
oh, but I can offset mine. Fuck off, you cunt. You know.
Yeah. Seriously.
Um,
Check your
but
privilege.
yeah, and it is. It's just going to get more and more and more expensive, which is a pity because we need some more Star Trek stuff. We need to be able to step onto a pod, down the
Hmm.
road and go, take me to Cleveland to get some drugs with Joey.
That's what
You
I'm
know,
saying. Teleporting. I'm
that's it.
telling you, man.
I think you're right. So, I'm going to mark that for later. So I'm trying to mark questions in the chat. So,
All
um,
right. Hell yeah.
okay, question 16. What's your favorite band and song? It doesn't need to be this. The song could be different than the band, so it's two answers really.
Oh man.
It could be the
Again,
same thing, but
the Beatles. Just kidding. Oh man. Like of late, I'd say again these are. I'll put out all country artists that are more recent, like Zach Bryan, Tyler Childers, Sturgill Simpson, Turnpike Troubadours. Also, as of late, Goodwin, Charlie West Goodwin is a good one of
right.
late. But of all time, like the classics, I put both the Beatles and Queen in there. Also Zeppelin and Leonard Skinner. I'd also put I'd throw Oasis and Nirvana in there as well.
Okay.
Then like, don't ask me to pick a favorite one because that changes with the wind. So
No, but that's okay because I did ask you. It's the whole point of the show, so you have to pick one. You can't sit on the fence. Even
okay,
even if we because I mentioned earlier the Beatles and the Queen thing. I said at the minute it's Queen, and I meant it, and it still is. But that could change if we did the thing again in 6 months. So
yeah.
if somebody was holding a gun to your head to say name a band,
All right. What would I save if the house was on fire?
yeah,
Probably. Oh man. Oh, good God. I'd say Queen. I'm gonna go with Queen
okay,
because they're diverse.
okay.
Uh,
So then if it was one single song, then it doesn't need to be Queen. So it could be Freebird, it could be whatever. If you did narrow it down to one song, then
what would I save if I would say Simple Man by Leonard Skinner. That's
right,
that's an anthem for a lot of people that grew up where I grew up, and
yeah,
it still rings true to this day. Like I would say Simple Man, Leonard Skinner.
yeah. It's a great song. It's one of my all time favorites. There's one of my all time favorites, Dave, as you can tell.
Yeah,
I'm in
yep.
Trooper. Um,
Heck yeah, man.
for what it's worth, for me, my favorite band of all time is AC/DC. Has been for years and probably
Nice.
still will be. At the minute, put me on the spot. There's a Crowded House song called Better Be Home Soon that I've
Ah,
loved for 35, 40 years, and it's great.
yeah. I haven't heard that one. I've heard Don't Dream
Uh,
It's Over and Something
Be-
So
Be-
Strong. Oh,
oh,
those are
God.
bangers.
Better Be Home Soon. I'd remind me, I'll send you the link to it, and it just it's brilliant. And especially again, I guarantee you, it's something you'll end up playing. It's just such a good song. Um, for
Man.
me, one single song, it depends what mood I'm in, but if I'm being sort of chilled out and stuff, it'd be Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd.
Nice. Excellent choice. Excellent choice.
Yeah,
Can't go wrong
you
with Pink
know,
Floyd.
yeah, because I mean, that would be like, I sort of half joked about definitely maybe being one of my Desert Island discs if you had only 3 albums.
Yeah.
But
That's a strong
my absolute,
contender.
yeah, my absolute number one album pick for that would be the Wish You Were Here album.
Nice. Nice. So if
It's
we're if
just
if
Shine on
we're
You, Crazy Diamond, and all, and Welcome to the Machine, and
yeah,
it,
yeah.
so it's weird, So because I hated Shine on You, Crazy Diamond when I first heard it a long time ago,
Oh
and it just
yeah.
grew on me.
Nice.
But the music I listen to most is the music it took a while to grow on me. Stuff that you instantly like, I think, is also a lot of time instantly forgettable.
Yeah, yeah. It's like a quick fix. It's like
Yeah,
It's like it's for yeah, like you said, it's forgettable. Like, and unfortunately, like the artists that are like in the pop charts these days, like it's very forgettable stuff. It's here one day, gone the next, which is
Absolutely.
yeah.
And I'm going to criticize Lizzo just because Miss Piggy's in the chat, and she always has some comment about it, but I cannot stand the likes of Lizzo. It's just bland, talentless cunts like her and fucking Miley Cyrus and what do you call your woman that's dating the footballer now?
Taylor Swift.
Her and I'm just like, yeah, okay. If that's on the radio, it's like, yeah, forget about it. It's just not for me, So, um,
Yeah, very
and
forgettable stuff.
yeah, Daniel, I've seen Steel Panther uh 5 times, I think, 4 times maybe, including this year in Belfast. They're great. And the only concert I was ever at that I was able to buy on DVD was Steel Panther released one, and as a bonus edition, they had their Download 2012 set. And there was the as an added feature, and I was in the crowd for it. And Corey Taylor was on stage with him because he co-wrote Death to All the Metal. But Steel Panther are so good, So, because yeah, their songs are daft, Asian hooker and all, and community properties. It's a slow, sobby song about the fact that I'm not even going to go into it here, but yeah, it's about cocks and stuff, So, and it's just such a good song, but they just slow it down on stage, and they're so good live, just the way they take the piss out of each other and all, and it's just brilliant, So,
Sign
okay,
me up.
yeah, I think they're fantastic, So have you always made friends easily, and is it getting harder as you get old,
Oh,
or easier?
I've been terrible at making friends, man. Like I was bullied in school, like, and so I really didn't have a lot of friends growing up, and like I had in high school I had a few, but the amount of friends I have right now, it could be counted on one hand, and it's definitely harder as an adult to make friends, like, because you're older, you're set in your ways, you're most likely got a career, some have families. Like, the fact that Dan and I still talk to one another on an almost daily basis, and like, we do play for keeps when it comes to our channel and all the work that we do, and like, it does make me think, like, obviously we would make the time for each other to hang out, but it would be like once every couple months if we weren't doing this channel. But because we are doing this channel, like, this is uh we've definitely been able to grow closer as friends as a result of it. I mean, obviously we knew each other before the channel, but like, knowing where we were before ETS and where we are now, like, it's definitely, ETS is like it's an extension of our friendship. And we've said before, like, if it got in the way of the friendship, we'd shut it down. But it
Right.
hasn't yet. So to answer your question, I'd say I haven't made friends easily all my life, and it's definitely harder as an adult.
Right, okay. I think most people would probably say the same thing. I'm terrible at making friends. I'm not a people person.
Yeah.
I'm
Me either.
I'm absolutely an acquired taste, And then if you get to know me and you like me, then we'll be really good friends. If you don't, then
Hmm.
it's okay, bye. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
That's how it should be.
yeah, and it's I don't tend to tolerate bullshit. If somebody's being a dick in the group, I'll say you're a dick, whether I know you. I bite my lip in work because obviously it's work. But
Yeah.
even that there, I don't that much. So but there are some people that just walk in the room and everybody likes them and everybody starts talking to them and they walk out and you'd think they were friends for years. I'm not that guy. I still struggle with people who've known them for years.
Oh
I
yeah.
can't do small talk, and it just makes it really, really. really weird. I mean, and I said earlier about joining JVs after being in the chat for months, but I remember like what people knew me,
Right, right.
and it helped that they were all, I mean, Blake and Thrash and JV, and JV's wife was on it that night as well. They were really good because they're outgoing and friendly, and that it made life easier for me. If they hadn't have been, I maybe it would have been just a nice to meet you and bye, never back again. But that's helped me. This sort of stuff's made me make friends, and I would say for me it's situational. If I'm on, well, the prime example is Daniel. When Daniel joined JV's one night,
Yeah.
I knew him. I'd seen, because I'd watched the channel and all that there, and then he joined JV's, and it was relatively rough going. It was mayhem, and straight away I started turning into Daniel, him and I talk about it. It was my way of testing him out because everybody was being nice because he's got 100,000 subs and all this here, and I was like, yeah, fuck that. You can't be nice to him just because he's got a big channel, I've told him this, just because he laughed right away and just played into it. I was like, yeah, we'll get on.
Hmm.
But it
Yeah.
was the safety of the group that let me do that, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I was comfortable in that group, and then somebody new come in, and then we then just got, like me and Daniel just got on relatively quickly because he said he followed me on Instagram. He sent me a message like literally 5 minutes after the panel was over. He goes, that was fucking nuts. Is it always like that? You know, and but it was that. But if it had been, if we had just done this and I'd never known him at all, I'd have found this really really weird.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
um, and so for me, that's what it is. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. It's good to. Sometimes you got to warm up to it as adults. You got to be coerced into it, and I'm not saying never with that. So like
yeah,
definitely this conversation with you has warmed me up to the idea of it. So
yeah,
I will
yeah.
I'll leave it there.
Funny enough, I was talking to work the other day. I mean, I'm a buyer, not a salesman.
Oh, okay.
And I think I'm much better at buying stuff because I don't need them to like me because I'm the one saying I'll order your stuff or I won't. Where if I'm a salesman, I walk into your office to try and sell you stuff.
Okay.
You have to a degree, you have to like me to want to buy off me. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that's so from that point of view, that's why I'm better suited what I do than I can do sales to a degree, I knew guys that would just people walk in and everybody just how's it going, and they like them right away, and they'd be inclined to give them orders and all. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah. I could not do sales, man. I'm not that kind of person.
no, it's difficult, So and I mean I knew guys that got good sales figures, but didn't come across instantly likable. So you know. It's one guy in particular. Not that he's ever going to watch this, but I won't name him. And I liked him a lot. Him and I get on really well. But a lot of people he wasn't that instantly happy, outgoing. Everybody loves you guy. But his
Yeah.
figures were always good. So there's obviously different ways to do things. So,
Oh yeah.
but I'm just saying. But that's me. You put me in a group and I'm comfortable. I'll talk and that's fine. But um, I'm with the exception of a very small group of people, I'm not anybody's go-to guy. I'm at Lucien, right? I'll call captain. Right, do you want to go out for a pint?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I understand that 100%.
yeah. Um, okay. Question 18. Do you have any big regrets in your life?
Probably not starting YouTube sooner. I would say, I mean, obviously how ETS started was a us documenting our fitness journey to do the Tough Mudder run. And obviously we fell back asswards into a reaction channel. But knowing what it has done for both of our lives, like that's my one regret is what two really in terms of career is not starting sooner. And I guess with music it was not going solo sooner, because the music that I wanted to make and the music that was popular in the mid-Atlantic region of the US, aka the Washington D.C. area, wasn't really the style that I wanted to make. So I would say just not following my intuitions, and not doing the things that have done well for me sooner. It's just
Okay.
kind of dragging my feet a little bit, I'd say.
But I suppose that's the benefit of hindsight we all have.
Yeah,
So it's and again, just the echo what was said earlier. I mean, all those regrets that you have, it's what led you to where you are now. Who knows what would have happened? I mean, think of it this way: if you'd made, let's not say better, but different choices when it comes to bands, like maybe you click, it's like the Beatles. Ringo wasn't the best drummer in the world, but the Beatles were better with him in it because the chemistry was right.
right, right. It
If you'd have
works better.
stumbled into a band that was right for you, you wouldn't have met, maybe you'd maybe met Daniel, because I know he did a bit of promotion, so you'd maybe still met him, but you maybe wouldn't have become good friends. You maybe wouldn't have started Embrace the Suck and all that. So
Right, right, right. And like, to your point, I don't regret the path that we've taken. Like there's a reason that the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror. So I'm all right with this whole path here.
uh, see, there's the American optimism again.
Of
Yeah,
course, of course.
yeah.
It was
You've
gonna
got,
come out eventually. You
yeah,
knew it.
yeah. You've got to love it. So,
Oh yeah.
um, okay, nearly there. You're very glad to hear. Question 19. What have you learned about the British that you didn't know before you started Embrace the Suck, I suppose?
That y'all don't give a flying fuck about not insulting anybody. Anybody is fair game when it comes to insulting, and you just gotta wait your turn. And yet y'all's sense of humor is pure and funny as hell. And y'all could get away with a lot more. So I'd say the sense of humor is probably the
Okay.
thing that I didn't know that y'all had unlocked. Like, obviously, like, and I hate to say this, that the stereotype that a lot of Americans have that haven't really researched too much is that the Brits are all proper and stuck up and plain, and don't season their food. But all of that is not true. Y'all
Yeah.
y'all got personality.
I mean, the stereotypes a lot. It's like us for Americans. It's what you see on TV. Because I watched, because what one of the best things I ever watched on TV is a program called QI,
Oh
especially
yeah.
when Stephen Fry presented, and
Oh yeah.
they basically in a funny way debunk myths, and you're right. It's that prim and proper, attitude that everybody thinks that us Brits are posh, and most of us aren't. Most of us are working class. Most of us are rough and ready. Most of us have horrible accents.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then we even think it. I mean, because obviously, so there's lots of World War II movies. Battle of Britain, the RAF saved the UK from
Oh yeah.
invasion and all. That's fantastic. But if you watch any movie, you'd think every pilot was upper class and they all spoke, Whatto and all, tally ho and all that. But it turns out the vast majority of them were working class boys that turned up and were, but we, even though we're
Uh,
British, we still think all the RAF guys in World War II, all the Battle of Britain guys, but that's because all the actors were rich, posh, properly speaking guys in the films,
there you go.
but in real life they weren't. So we have that stereotype too. So
Yeah,
um,
you don't hear a lot of Brummies or Scousers or
no,
Geordies in there, or you
no,
hear more Southern type accents of
yeah, it's the
the
posh
England.
English, public school boy sort of thing, and it turns out to not be true because, and lots of them were in the military. I'm not having a go at them because a lot of they'd have been the officer class to be honest, but the vast majority of people signed up, did their bit, so it didn't
Hmm.
really matter at that point what their background was,
Right.
but it's just that stereotype of of the posh English guy, and I didn't know because you see memes all the time on the internet of what what the Yanks think the Brits are, and then what they actually really are, and they'll show some drunken slobber land, in their own piss, and there's an awful lot of truth to that, So,
Nice.
um,
Sounds like a good Friday night, though.
yeah, maybe it was once. I'm too old for all that now. I've done my fair share of drinking and all the rest of it. I'm just too old for it now.
I get it, man. I get it.
For me now, it's gigs. I'll go to as many gigs as I can.
Yeah.
I've been lucky this year. There's been loads of bands, because we're not a big market here, so a lot of the big bands don't come. But Rival Sons have played here this year, and they were fantastic. And Dirty Honey supported them. Blackberry Smoke were fantastic. Saxon played here. I know Daniel's done one section reaction, but he's working on another couple. And there's
Yeah.
loads of bands have played here this year. Nothing But Thieves next Friday. I can't wait. That's why I've nothing scheduled for it. They're my favorite band
Nice.
at the minute, and love
Nice.
them. And then Dirty DC the following night, ACDC tribute act and all, and
Oh,
what
nice, nice.
that's what I leave the house for more than anything else now. Go to and one that I know you have done reactions to, Ocean Colour Scene. They're playing Belfast again in December, and I can't wait.
Oh my God.
So
Yes.
I saw them at the height of Britpop. I've seen them 3 times, but I haven't seen them now since the 90s, I suppose. And I'm
Man.
really looking forward to that. But um that's my reason to leave the house now. I
Yeah.
like to go out
Yeah.
for an Indian, but I like to.
Right.
I'd rather go out for a meal now and sit around the table and have a few drinks and talk
Yeah.
shit and sit 2 or 3 hours in a restaurant and go to a pub now. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what,
okay,
man. I'll tell you what, like us, Daniel and I going to gigs is like we're at the point now where we've known the value of seated places, like being up in the front in the mosh pit, standing for so long, man. I tell you what, that's
yeah.
I think we're both officially over that.
I know. And the first time uh, I've been going to gigs for years. I say I've seen hundreds of bands. There's very few people that could probably say they've seen more bands live than me. You know what I mean? Even with going
Nice.
to festivals and seeing 3 days of moving from band to band to band, but just going to every gig I can. I mean, my first ever gig was a British band called Ian Jury and the Blockheads,
Okay.
and they play at a wee local bar here that I still go to, for gigs called the Limelight, because Oasis and all have played in the Limelight, and U2 have played on it, and
Oh.
it's like our CBGBs, although the bar itself shit now.
Oh. Okay.
But
But
Van Morrison played on it last Friday, or
The
last
Van
week.
Morrison.
Yeah. Well, he's from
Wow.
Belfast,
Right. He's
so
from Belfast. I know that
he's a
much. Yeah.
Belfast
Yeah. Yeah.
boy, but he did 4 or 5 nights there,
Wow.
so. And when you see it, I mean, it's become a bit of a student shithole now, but it used to be just, it was a live venue. I mean, you look at, I'm struggling to name them all, but I think even Green Day and stuff maybe playing on it back in the day, and it's, for a lot of us, it's like CBGB's was in New York,
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
Ramones played and all that sort of thing, and but. Yeah, but Ian Jury and the Blockheads, they did a song that was massive in my childhood called "Hit Me with Your Rhythm Stick,"
Nice.
um, and they just became. He had cerebral palsy and stuff. Lead singer with cerebral palsy, but just went. I'm still going to succeed, because the guy that played Gollum in the Lord of the Rings actually did a biopic of him a lot of years back.
No way.
Yeah, so that was my first ever gig, and since then I've been to I've seen hundreds of bands now, and but that's my, because I sit constantly on Ticketmaster, who's coming, who's coming, who's coming. This year it's been great. The problem is next year they could be next to nobody and it'll be rubbish,
Oh
and so
man.
we're not a big market, so it's. But sorry, the reason it started out we waffle. You said about sitting down. I hadn't been to gigs in years, and then the mate said Metallica were playing Belfast, and it was a Tuesday night, and it's not the first time they've played Belfast, but in my adult life, it was the first time. And then they put on, they were sold out. My mate was going, but then they put on a second night on the Wednesday night. And Graham said to me, "Do you want to go?" I said, "Yeah, get tickets." So he got a set. He went both nights with me, but we got. I always remember we got. It was the first time he had ever been seated, but it was the only tickets we'd get, and he wasn't sure of how I was going to react when but he says that he looked, 30 seconds and I'm standing up headbanging, and all the rest of it. And he went, "Yeah, I think we'll be all right." And
Yeah.
him and I started going to as many gigs as we could. And then um, I went to my first festival about 2 months after that because I'd never liked the idea of a festival with download, what was, the old Monsters of Rock at Castle Donington when it
Oh,
morphed
okay.
into download. Um, so at about 4 or 5 weeks' notice, I went to it because I wanted to see AC/DC. They were the main headliner, on the Friday night,
Nice.
and um, I never looked back. But the sitting thing didn't bother me because everybody in our section just got up and sort of, you know, um, not party. That's the wrong phrase, but just enjoyed themselves anyway,
Yeah.
So.
It's the power of
Uh,
music, man.
yeah, if you get the right fans, because a lot of people go to these things just to see the act and they don't know them, but I mean, because I used to work with a guy who bought tickets to see Lady Gaga, and I'm standing looking, I'm going, the fuck you buying Lady Gaga tickets for? Oh, well, it's Lady Gaga. Yeah, but the music's great. Yeah, but it's Lady Gaga. It was an event to him rather than for me. I want to hear the music. It was
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
it was just and this is a guy that played guitar and all the rest of it. I'm like, but why are you going to listen to that cunt? You know what I mean? It's just
Oh,
nonsense. Oh, yeah, but just because everybody else wanted to, I never got that. So okay. So the last
yeah.
regular question then. Now I know you don't have kids yet, but this is just a sort of life thing. So what thing from your child do you regret that your children not having or doing? So your future children.
Yeah, I would say freedom because every child that I know, and remember, I used to work as a school bus driver, and I didn't really get to interact with the kids as much as like a teacher would, but I just feel like we don't the generations before after me and after will not have as much freedom because everyone has a camera phone that they could pull out and ruin your whole life and career in one fell
Yeah,
swoop. Just post it to TikTok and Instagram and your life is over. And the way the economy is, uh this is the generations coming after are gonna have less than those before. And I feel like that's the big thing that the future generations are not gonna have really is freedom. And 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 by that I mean the ability to go outside, go to a friend's house or go to the mall or maybe the local McDonald's or chip shop or whatever.
yeah,
And the parents and everyone around doesn't think twice about it. Like
yeah,
I just I I hate the fact that the future generations are not going to be able to experience that.
yeah. Um, to be honest, I think that's the answer most people give because and I think it's true. Um, I mean, I'm a lot older than you, so it's maybe slightly different. But even though I grew up in Belfast during the Troubles, right?
Oh,
So
okay.
a lot of shit going on, but we still were much safer. It was still much easier for us to go out. We literally, as soon as the sun was up in the morning, as soon as we were up, it was your ma threw you out of the house, right? Now, fuck off, get out, come back at dinner time. That would have been it. And then you got,
Wow.
and then you went out, you played football, and you went, you did whatever you want to do, and then you come back for your dinner, and then you went out again, and you literally only came back in when it was dark, but it was
Yeah.
safer. You could do that. You go out and you went out and played. You went out and did stuff. You went out on your BMX. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
you played football, and I say football, not that nonsense you play over there.
Not the
Um,
pigskin with the
no,
actual
proper
proper
football.
football.
Yeah, and it's different. I mean, I don't have kids. I never bred. I'm a genetic dead end, you know. Um, and
You and me both.
but if I had kids, that would be something that I think. I mean, the social media is a massive thing to do with. I mean, I
Oh
sit when
yeah.
I put phone there. I hate it at times, but I don't go on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook or anything like that. I was on it for a while. It just got so toxic. I went, yeah, you can fuck off. I'm just,
Oh yeah.
I some stupid cunt trying to call me a rapist and a murderer because she was a vegan and I said you're making me want a hamburger. So they went all I'd get all bitchy and this was somebody remind me. I'll circle back this offer. I'm not going to talk about it, but somebody I helped out of a hole, and but then they moved and they went into a different circle of friends and they just went. And I only ever if I get into double figures on Facebook, I used to start deleting people. Because I wasn't one that was chasing. Oh, I've got 600 friends. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Um, Social media is a cancer, and
Oh yeah.
it's terrible.
Oh
And
yeah.
the pressure that kids let themselves get put under and parents let their kids get put under, it's just like it's just not good for them. Peer pressure is a bastard at the best of times. But I think it's amped up now because everybody wants clicks and likes and nobody wants that photo taken of them doing something stupid. I mean, oh my God, some of the stuff we did as kids. Can you
Right?
imagine half of your childhood being recorded and being on the internet forever? Some of the
Oh my
shit that
god.
we did.
If that was the case, then we wouldn't have a I wouldn't have a career. I don't know about you, but yeah, I did say I was bullied, but it was like physical bullying. Like you
Yeah,
had to say it to your face. Like I couldn't
yeah,
imagine being cyber bullied.
yeah,
In they know my social media accounts. They knew maybe they knew my email. Maybe they knew uh even with AI technology, you could do deep
yeah,
fakes now. If they had a
yeah,
picture of me, they could make a video of me saying something nasty, and
yeah,
there goes any future prospects of mine.
yeah. It's a horrible situation for kids now. It really is, and I think that you're right. I think the exact word you used was perfect there, freedom, because we had the freedom to go out and be kids.
Yeah.
You go out and do stupid things. You're supposed to do stupid things with your kid and learn and get them out of your system.
Oh yeah.
And learn right from wrong because your dad smacks it the back of the legs whenever you get in trouble and not have it recorded and put out forever um it's a weird one. I maybe it's just me being so antisocial. I never got it. Like I say, even when I was on Facebook, I was like I used to get I had friends and family, not friends. Sorry, that's the wrong phrase. Colleagues
Yeah.
that used to get pissy with me because they keep sending me friend requests on Facebook, and I kept turning them down. And
Hmm.
family.
Yeah.
Just what like I'm not interested in colleagues or family on here. This is strictly the people that to be honest, a lot of it was because I was going to gigs with people, and we were
Oh
going to
okay.
festivals together, and it was and then one of the guys moved to Canada, so it was a way of keeping in touch and all
Okay.
that sort of thing. And then what the girl that ended up being a fucking a dick.
Mm.
And to be honest, we were all only friends with her because everybody wanted to bang her because she was hot. She was a fucking hot rock chick.
Oh yeah.
She was a cool girl as well, but she was hot. But then
Yeah.
her and her boyfriend, he was in a band. They moved to fucking Manchester, and all of a sudden, she became all fucking commie and vegan and all stuff. And just changed overnight. And you fuck off.
Oh my god.
Um, yeah, that was the final straw for me because I wasn't digging it anyway. And then once you started getting abused from people that you thought that you get on with, it's like, yeah, you can fucking do one.
Yeah. It's a
Um,
shame. It really is.
yeah, so right. So the last question, this is always the one we always finish with. Then nice,
All
easy
right.
one. What's the single best piece of advice you could share with the world?
Um. I would say find what it is that you're passionate about and find uh, a way to, make it so that you can do it as many times as you want. Like for instance, like this channel, the ETS 21, it's allowed me to pursue more musical projects. It's allowed me to uh go do other experience other things without the um pressures of a 9 to 5 job. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a 9 to 5 job. If that's what it takes to make it so that you can do the thing that you want to do, then by all means, keep that around. Like I, um, but then again, like life is worth being happy. Like find the thing that makes you happy and be sure that you can do it as anytime that you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good advice. But although I will caveat that with saying a lot of us don't find stuff that we're passionate about. That's I mean, musicians are passionate about music and that sort of thing. I love listening to music, but I'm never going to be able to make a career or a life out of it.
Yeah, yeah,
So I mean, where some people are passionate about they find something I like, but for a lot of us, that's a tricky one. So
yeah.
um,
But at the
but
same time, it doesn't have to be music. It could be, your favorite sports team. It could be a favorite actor or movies or cooking or, a certain hobby. Like don't I think the better way to say it is don't give up on your hobbies and don't make the
well,
time for the things that make you happy.
I think in fairness, there's a few people here might think I'm passionate about complaining. I do complain a lot. I do moan a lot, and I am a sarcastic fucker. So I am quite passionate about that. So um I think we'll keep that going. So
Hey, maybe
um
that's your thing. That's your
that's it.
thing.
That's it. If I could monetize sarcasm, I'd be set. So um so the
Monetizing
last thing we
sarcasm.
normally do, we'll have a few questions started for to ask you. But so is there one thing you would want to ask me?
I would say, and I hope it hasn't been asked before, but
Not yet, Daniel.
what is something that a misconception you had about Americans that has been squashed, either before YouTube or during YouTube?
Um, Daniel asked something very similar, and I'll
Oh,
say
oh,
that
really? Sorry.
yeah. No, you're all right. The I've said this for years. I know a lot of Americans, and I like a lot of Americans. Okay,
Huh.
and I've been to America twice, and I've met some great people over there. But I think you have a really bad PR problem.
Oh,
Part of that
really?
is because um, the only people that travel tend to be loud, obnoxious, fucking, and sometimes old Americans. And they come
Mm.
over and it's not quaint. And my granny was in Ireland, 8 generations ago. So do you know her? And and all this nonsense. Um, and there's you know you have a people think yous are obnoxious and all the rest of it. And while some of yous can be, I haven't found it to be the case when we meet yous one on one or
Oh,
through this. I had my friend's dad years ago traveled to America, used to play music over in America.
okay.
And he used to say to me before I'd been over and met anybody, was like, he says, never mind the preconceptions, you'll go over and these are some of the nicest people you'll meet. And I found the same when I traveled. And I've
Yeah.
found the same meeting good people through this stuff. Like I say, like every other country in the world, you've got your more than your fair share of arseholes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That you get that in every country in every walk of life. But so that for me was um, that was that's a preconception I had when I was younger. That's a preconception lots of people have, but I think part of the problem is not enough of you travel.
Yeah, and
You
like I
know,
said, it's very hard for us to travel, and
yeah,
I would love to do it more, you know? And I would say, with preconceptions about everything, that's why I've tried to approach every new person I meet not as a label, an individual. I didn't approach you as, a Brit, a Northern Irish,
yeah,
a long-haired, bearded guy. I just approached you as,
yeah,
captain,
yeah,
and anything, any opinion I'd have about you would be formed off of the conversation that we have. And
yeah,
and for that it's been positive. So
yeah.
I'm glad I've gone in with that mentality.
Yeah. No, fair play. I think that's it. I think it's the open mindedness, but I think see us Brits travel lots, and possibly because our weather's shitty all the time, and a lot of us want to go somewhere, and because we're such small islands, you can see most of it within a lot of months if you really want to. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
we have you have cities over there that are you have small cities that are bigger than our whole. I think it's 1.7 million people in the whole of Northern Ireland. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay.
I can drive from Belfast to almost anywhere in Northern Ireland in under an hour. But in a
Oh,
lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
in a lot of American places, you'd still be in the same city. You'd probably still be in the same bloody suburb. It's just it's. I'm exaggerating slightly, but it's such a big country.
Yeah,
Um,
you're not too
but
far off.
yeah, and I just think I think if more cool Americans would travel, you know, I mean, Joey traveled last year, and Joey was brilliant. But Joey's exactly what you see on the screen. Joey's loud, and you can you can you can tell that Joey's American just by looking at him, and then you hear him from about a mile away. And then he stands in the middle of the bar in Belfast as loud as he can, talking about titties, and everybody's looking. Um, which was great, but it needs to be you and Joey and Daniel and people like that traveling so people can meet ordinary cool Americans, not old fat Hawaiian shirt fanny pack carrying Americans, which is what the image is, it is, and it is partially, there is that element, so
All right, so no Hawaiian shirts. Got it.
no Hawaiian shirts. What did Homer say? Only gays or big fat party guys wear Hawaiian shirts. So um,
Noted. Noted.
so, which reminds me, I have to get my Hawaiian shirt out of the wash. So um, you can work out which one if you want. So
All
right. So
right.
a couple of questions if you're up for it, just from the chat. Okay.
Shoot,
Um,
let's go.
so Joey wants to know. He says, Spencer, is better name for Daniel's channel to be Seven Nation Arias instead of Arias of the Nation."
It doesn't sound like too bad of a title for a channel. I just don't want him to be served papers from Jack White. So I I I don't know, man. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No, Irish the Nation is quite a good one. I think it works.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
think it's a good name. I think it works. So, um, right from Dorito, who I don't think's here anymore. But does the green screen background actually work with shelves there?
uh I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, but all I will say is that I'm naturally just lazy. So that's why the green background was up there for so long. It wasn't until a few I got I kept getting like bombarded with uh comments about the green screen that I finally put this thing up, and also because we got the plaque, I wanted to be able to display that one. So
And you have to pay for that plaque. I thought was a bit. Does Daniel say you'd to pay for that?
we got one for free.
Oh, you
We
get one for free.
Right. Any more we would have to pay for, and we
Uh,
wanted Daniel to have one as well as me. So
but did you make Daniel pay for his own then?
No, we pulled it out of the ETS fund.
That would have been funnier. You should have just said yes.
Well,
Um,
I'm not gonna force that joke. It's come and gone.
okay, so that one, there's a lot of people reacting to the same thing. Is it because that is trending at the moment?
It can be. Like recently the whole reason we did the Beatles one is because we knew there's only one last Beatles song that's gonna happen. So, but we're not really big on trends. Like we're not big on uh reacting to something just because everyone else is doing it. But the time of doing something just because it's popular, that is more the exception rather than the
Right.
rule.
Oh, sometimes you just have to do it because it's you're Beatles fans and it's a big story, so not doing it would be stupid.
Right,
But
exactly.
I think, to be honest, I think that's the algorithm torturing us again. Because I think if I watch EB doing a reaction to Bottom, all of a
Yeah.
sudden you'll see Bottom reactions everywhere.
Yeah. Like we're probably not going to be doing that till like much later, probably late
Yeah,
2024 to be honest, or early
yeah. So
2025.
I don't think it's necessarily everybody's doing the same thing. I think it's just YouTube shows you once you watch something about laying bricks, you get fucking tortured about bricklaying
Oh yeah.
videos for weeks. I think it's that more than anything else, So right, I'm going to skip a couple because, well, no, we'll ask this one from Joey. Joey's obsessed with bacon tonight for some reason. So, how many minutes straight could you eat bacon?
um yes.
Oh, and I should stress your bacon's not the same as ours. Our bacon's better by all accounts.
I beg to differ on that one. It's good, but I mean, I
But see,
grew
I
up with
watched you.
my
I watched you doing the. You went to the Irish pub, and I'm looking at it because I even commented that's not a real fry. Joey's had a proper Ulster fry in Ulster,
Oh yeah, of course it's not a
and
proper
yeah,
fry up. It was at the Guinness factory in Baltimore,
yeah.
and
So
it
if
was too
you're over here,
Americanized.
I'll take you for an Ulster fry, which is proper tatty bread, soda bread, bacon, sausage, egg, everything. It's
I can't wait. I can't
yeah.
wait. But how
It,
many minutes I straight could I eat bacon for? Like how much you got, man? And it's both of y'all's. I could eat for a long time. I mean, I'd probably have to go to the hospital and get a bypass, but I'd say like a good hour.
that's right. Yeah. Who needs to live forever? So.
Exactly,
There's
exactly.
BC says, yeah, YouTube is killing the reaction channels as of current, and I think he's right because you know what I mean. I met all you guys through reaction channels. Like say, was listening to EB, and that you can hear EB from 3 rooms away when he's laughing. It's great,
Yeah,
and that's what it
yeah.
was. My brother was downstairs listening to it, and it was like, and you could hear this lunatic insane laugh coming through the walls, and you go, "What are you watching?" And he goes, "Like," and he was watching Dave Allen and stuff like that you love, so you tend to watch him, and that's what started me off. And then through all that, eventually, Squirrel, yourselves, and all the rest of it, and it's um, and I'm not sure if I'd have only stumbled into YouTube now because watching the reactions is hard work now because you aren't allowed to play almost anything. It's just like
Pretty much.
and say I somebody trying to do it now. Although you do seem to get a wee bit more leeway with music, to be honest. So
Yeah, it's I mean
um
certain bands you certainly can't do like Eagles, but
oh yeah,
generally like yeah, music you can definitely get away with more with the right bands, but yeah. There's
yeah.
a
So right, so what's one from Lep? Say Lep, great
yeah.
cook. So he wants to know if you had to name a burger after a band, who would it be and what would be on it? That's a great question, actually.
Oh, that's a good one. Uh Nirvana, and it would be first of all a turkey burger because it's got tryptophan in it, and it would put you into a bit of Nirvana because it's got tryptophan and it would put you to sleep. And also, I feel like it's been shown that cheese puts you to sleep. What else? Probably bacon because of all the calories, and it would put you to sleep. Yeah, and whatever condiments you like on it, mayo, ketchup, mustard. on a potato roll or brioche.
Well,
So
brioche is nice. But did you meant would you put a pineapple ring on it?
I put a pineapple ring.
And I'll tell you why, because it would represent that hole in the head that Kurt ended up with. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
if you're
So
going to a Nirvana burger, you're gonna have to have a hole somewhere with some red sauce in it, just to represent the final.
that's smart. That's smart. Yeah, you put your ketchup in there too. So there you go,
Yeah.
Nirvana burger.
Okay. And we're just these will just let you just shout out a wee bit. So, Sarah, have you got a plan for where you want to visit when you're in the UK?
Oh man.
I know you've been doing videos about it. So
Yeah. Well, right now, my here's what I've got so far is my flight flies out of BWI Airport, right between Washington D.C. and Baltimore on Monday, June 3rd, around 6 p.m. And I have a layover in Iceland, and um my flight is gonna get into Stansted Airport outside London about 10 a.m. on Tuesday, June 4th. My first my goal is to try and be there around 3 weeks. My first stop would be the Isle of Man because I'm not sure if he's still in the chat, but our buddy David Birchall wants to help
no,
me
I
get
think
into the
he popped in there to say hi. So
yeah, he's probably asleep right now, but he wants to help me experience the Isle of Man TT race at least for a couple of days. So after I visit for like a day or two, it's open season. Like we'll see. I mean, I'm obviously what I would like to what I'd like the way to do it obviously is to not do the typical route of just trying to do everything at once. Like there's so much history, there's so many individual places to go. There's no way to do it all in one fell swoop, but there's certain people I'd like to visit. I would like to visit all the places to go busking. Um,
oh,
and
are you bringing a guitar?
I either I'll bring my own or one of the sponsors of ETS, Lloyd Guitars, Highwell has offered me one of his acoustics for when I get over there. He
Okay.
lives outside of Cardiff, so there's reason for me to visit there and then take that.
Well, if you make it to this neck of the woods, I lend you mine.
Oh hell yeah! You got one? Hell yeah! Look at that.
I can't play it, but it's a tanglewood, and it's and
Nice.
nobody's heard of it. But see anybody that ever plays it, they always try and bat off me. It sounds really good, apparently.
Yeah,
It's a
it's a good
really
looking
nice
guitar.
tone.
So that
Yeah,
that if need be, I might borrow yours. So thank you for that.
yeah. So if you're gonna bust this in the centre of Belfast, um,
Hell yeah.
you absolutely can borrow that, So, and his other question is
Thanks,
just, I
bud.
think you've maybe answered, but just when are you coming?
Yeah, like I said, my flight, I'll be on UK soil June 4th in the morning, and my plan is like 2-3 weeks. I like I'm trying to. The other thing is I have the ticket to go see Liam Gallagher at Manchester Co-op on Sunday, June 16th. So I'd
Right.
like to that's I'll be there at least that amount of time. And just in my initial sketching out of a potential route through the UK and Ireland, that has me at like 3-ish weeks. So
Right. Okay.
that's
Yeah. It's
I,
a long
again,
time. It's a long trip. 3 weeks.
yeah. I mean,
Are
there's
you
a
going
lot to
live?
do.
Are you going to try and live stream from here?
I'll try. I'll try. I mean, obviously, I've been researching, my phone plan for Verizon. I could buy a plan to, have data over in the UK and Ireland. So I would say it's possible, 100%.
But at the very least, you're going to record as much as you can.
Oh yeah,
So
oh yeah. So like other channel that it's JPS. Like his last time he came over, I saw that he recorded that stuff on his iPhone. I'm like, if he could do it on that, I could do it as well.
oh, JT, that's the wee lad that left college because his channel was doing so well, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, the younger guy. He's also from
Yeah.
Maryland,
Right.
but he's a bit younger and he can get up a little quicker than even I can. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, fair
there you go.
play. So that's us. So firstly, thank you very much for doing this.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having
Um,
me. This was
it's
fun.
No, I've really enjoyed this, and obviously this is the first time we've met. You know, everybody else so far I've known beforehand. You know, so I
Yeah.
really appreciate you doing that. You know, so
Yeah, likewise.
um, and secondly, have you anything you want to shout out then, as soon as you're here?
Um, of course, most of y'all know my original channel, Embrace the Suck 21, daily uploads on that. My music, Spencer Joyce. Search it on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, anywhere you get your music. Also on my YouTube channel, at Spencer Joyce Music, I do a weekly live stream. I entitle it "No Gig, No Problem." It's usually on Saturdays, Fridays or Saturdays. If it's on Fridays, it's at 5 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. UK, or if it's on Saturdays, which is what we're probably going to do going forward, it'll be at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. UK. In fact, that's what it's going to be tomorrow on Spencer Joyce Music. I believe it's linked in the description.
Yes,
Yay! So
yes.
there you
Well, your
go.
true channel, I'll put a base of suck and I'll put Spencer Joyce music in it. So, um, if there's any others, feel free. So, um, and on that note, Blake TV is doing an after show for this. Okay, so Blake has just put the link in the chat for anybody who wants to go and see Blake after this. Blake, who's doing really well recently, and hopefully is still doing really well, but we'll find out shortly.
All
Um,
right.
and
Sounds fun.
Blake's a good guy. Blake is going to be on this at some point, you know. So, um, you know, so the link's in there, so feel free to check that out, everybody, because you know everybody knows Blake, even people that aren't on YouTube, you know. So thank you everybody in the chat. You know, I'm not going to try and name everybody because I'll miss people, and I don't mean to do that. So this has been great. I really enjoyed this, and thank you very much, everybody. So
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Thanks for hanging
okay,
with us. And Captain, thank you for having me. It was a really fun time. Can't wait to meet you next year.
yes, absolutely. So night, everybody.
Night, y'all.